thing and the bell's gonna ring. School's out, sucker!
Ding dong, get off my stage. Next!
I've covered teen shows far and wide. Never have I seen a show that was so willing to jump into sexism, theft, and more banned episodes than I've seen in any cartoon. 16 is the epitome of the perfect teen show, taking place in a mall of all places. They don't go to their homes, we don't ever see them outside of this area. It's super nostalgic, the way these guys like fit into each other's lives and how they prioritize what's important, and honestly, it feels more true to life than life itself, if that's not a giant statement to make.
Wouldn't you be more attracted to a guy who knows just what to say to the ladies?
Sure, you know any?
If the characters don't look familiar right off the bat, you definitely recognize the giant lemon and the main set. So let's jump into the chaos that is this Canadian TV show that tried to break a million Americans' hearts. So why don't we follow Jonesy, Nikki, Jude, Caitlin, Wyatt, and Jen through their adventures of puberty in one of the most authentic teen shows I've ever witnessed, 16. If you grew up in the 2000s, you probably caught it on Cartoon Network. We're gonna go through all the episodes in season 1, at least half of them for this first video, and if you guys like it, we'll jump into more episodes later. But sit back and get comfortable because this one is a interesting one. What's up, everybody? It's Johnny 2000 and Johnny Tunes coming at you with another cartoon retrospective. If you guys like these, make sure to like, hype, subscribe, whatever your doctors told you to do. And let's get into season 1, episode 1.
You have got to be the most irresponsible, clumsy, spoiled girl I've ever met. This grapefruit has more sense of responsibility than you. At least it knows it's supposed to get squished today.
Here I am talking about teen shows, sitcoms, like what was shown in the 2000s, and I've never covered the show 16. I am ashamed. This is such a classic show by the creators of Total Drama Island, as you can recognize the character designs, and it really blew up in Cartoon Network in the 2000s, and this show is just so unforgettable to a point where they even had episodes banned because of the mature content they had to cover, because they were not worried about talking down to teens. They wanted to just give us the teenage experience firsthand by showing us a mall that has all the main characters in it and just specifically what they do at that mall. I mean, sometimes they'll go outside the mall, but like very rarely. Even in the episodes I've seen, I cannot remember which times they did or did not. So we're going to go through the first 13 episodes of this astronomically confusing series and see why 16 is the ultimate teen show for everybody, and it does not hold back. Canada does things surely differently than us.
No offense, but you don't know what it's like to crash a vehicle.
Oh, I know about crashing, dude. That gross feeling in the pit of your stomach? The screech of tires?
No, I'm not wearing that.
If you want to work here, you are.
But I'll look like the biggest loser in the mall. No offense.
I didn't realize this show had an official pilot until I saw this. It's called Take This Job and Squeeze It, episode 1 of 16. And it's all about the main girl, the blonde girl, Caitlin, getting her job at the Lemon. And it all follows from her perspective, which actually makes so much sense looking back at the show now. I feel like since they're all hanging out at this giant lemon stand the whole time, it checks out. And she's a spoiled brat.
Pink is back in, and my closet is totally pink poor.
They give us like a London Tipton-like character, which is actually really fun because she's so rich to the point of just straightforward ignorant. And you know what? You gotta have a flawed main character. Her best friend is like a background character for the rest of the show, but we get a really nice view of them all, introducing us to like the environment, like how chill it is, and then the theme song kind of gives away that she's gonna get the job. Yeah, this coming in too early is like kind of crazy. I feel like it's hard to like believe it. We have Nikki and Jonesy as the first characters we get to meet, and Jen, who is like the sporty character, working at the lemon stand, which turns out to be her first job. I know her so much from like the later episodes, but hey, there has to be a chronological view of this, huh? So she's complaining because she just wants to get rid of her job once she gets the job she really wants. And, you know, she meets Caitlin, everybody meets Caitlin, and doesn't like her. She's very snotty and rude, and I totally agree. This whole friend group seems to vibe on their own, which is kind of the cool part about all of this. You feel bad for Caitlin Caitlyn in that sense, that she doesn't really have anybody she cares about or friends. She gets her credit card declined, and that's for the first time in her life that she's like super rejected, and she has to kind of figure out what to do about it. The only way she could spend money at this mall or continue her lifestyle is if she were to get a job, which she doesn't even consider doing.
Is that the uniform you have to wear? That color really doesn't suit me.
In the B plot, we actually get introduced to all the other characters and their aspirations at the mall, which their goal is to all make sure they have a job to sustain them through the summer so they can make money and hang out at the same time, which is kind of a genius plan, to be honest.
I'd be a Christmas tree.
I guess I'd be a maple.
No, wait! A dandelion.
I'd rethink the hat, too.
I thought this was a skate shop.
Yeah, so we get a really good perception of what the characters are actually like through the interview process. Jonesy ends up being known as the character that never can keep a job, which I find hilarious. But this does such a good job at introducing us to 6 different people at once, which I was worried would be really hard. So Caitlyn needs a job, and as you can tell, Jen doesn't like her job, so it's the perfect switcheroo, where Caitlyn ends up taking over this role. Jen and Caitlyn kind of have a moment when she's crying, and it's really sweet to see them like connect on like an emotional level, despite the fact they're like from 2 different worlds. Meanwhile, Jen cannot find anybody to work at the lemonade stand, so she ends up hiring Caitlyn. At first, Caitlyn is doing like a horrible job at this, and literally the friends are just around to make fun of her. It doesn't seem like any of them are friends, which I like. It feels like we're kind of earning this. Until Caitlyn's popular friend kind of shames her for doing this whole thing and cuts her off as a friend, which is really sad.
It's nothing personal, it's just that you're wearing a lemon hat, Kate, and polyester.
Poor girl, and she does not treat them well, so like you don't think that they deserve to be friends, but she does start to change her attitude. So Jen ends up getting the job she wants at the stand, but you know what? This coach is super angry with her. And this is her new boss at the sports store, so this is kind of a big deal. Luckily, Caitlyn jumps in to defend her, and that's really the least she could do considering she called her out. I feel like this character is just so rude in the first episode, but at least like there's a chance for them to get to know each other and actually earn it. So she ends up keeping her job at the lemon stand, allowing Jen to move on, and Caitlyn stays here by herself from now on. Meanwhile, Nikki ends up finally agreeing to a job, one that she isn't really comfortable with. It's just a bunch of blonde, perky girls.
Welcome to the Khaki Barn team! Welcome to the Khaki Barn team!
No way!
I don't believe it.
And she is like this emo goth chick, so it's like kind of a nightmare for her. Perfect way to start off a first episode. We got conflict, we got characters, and we just got 16 being 16. It totally reminds me of like what it was like to hang out with my friends, like how we avoided different adult responsibilities and just kind of kept up with our own specific friend group. And seeing them all as the workers and the people in the mall, like it's just so relevant to how being 16 was. And I can't congratulate the show enough because it's so smart with that. I like the mall cop the most. I remember him, but he's like not in it super much. I'm just excited to see him be in it more, so keep an eye out for him because that's a good one. I can't tell which characters I like the best. I feel like Jude is like the most sensitive, and I feel like his like chill demeanor is super relatable, and you could tell this voice actor is the same guy who does Chris from Total Drama Island. It's so cool to think that there's such talented Canadians out there.
But you're the best worker, like, ever.
Yeah, like really.
I'm just trying to...
So episode 2 of this show actually continues barely started character developments. Like, for example, Nikki and Caitlyn still are not friends. They're like so at odds with each other, despite the fact Caitlyn really tries with her. Jude works at the stick stand or whatever. Like, he's just giving away sticks of hot dogs and stuff.
Can I have the Polish sausage stick-it? Flawless.
Everybody is so hyper focused on their job that they're like driven insane, especially Jen, who this episode is primarily about. Like, but yeah, they're teenagers, they're overwhelmed, and they don't really know how to deal with it. Jonesy, apparently, just got a job at the mall amusement park. Ooh. And so he's trying to convince everybody that they need a day off, convincing everybody one by one that they really deserve it. Jude tries to give a whole speech about why teens shouldn't work, and I don't know why, it's just so funny to me.
We're humans because millions of years ago, some ape took a day off and invented tools. That ape decided, I'm not going into the tree today. I'm gonna go build a small car out of rocks, or maybe teach a cow to give me some milk.
and they really get a plan together. And it definitely seems like everybody's ready to go through with it, except for Jen, who continues to protest. She's not having this. She cares too much about her job, which I like following the neurotic one. That's so interesting. So everybody's in on this plan, and they pretend to be sick. That's why the episode's called the Big Sickie. So everybody tries to lie to their boss and then meet back up at the lemon stand. And this is another great excuse to look at characters, to hear how they're willing to lie to their bosses. And, you know, some of them are good at it, some of them are bad at it, and Nikki is just threatening them. I can't believe she even still is working at this job.
In fact, she makes me kind of crazy. So, for your safety and the safety of the fine patrons of the Khaki Barn, I am taking the day off. Any objections?
Jude literally takes a mop and tries to make it look like he's there, which is definitely not gonna work. Throughout the entire episode, a guy thinks he's being waited on by him and just, like, is unfazed by it.
Just a little service would be nice.
Meanwhile, they're harassing Jen to continue to get off her job, but she said no multiple times, guys. Like, leave her alone. She just does not want to get in trouble. I feel like they could have fun without her. I don't know why they need her to go.
I don't want to lose my job. I'm trying to be responsible.
That's so overrated.
So one by one, they all successfully get out of their jobs, and great, they're ready to go hang out at the park. Except for the fact they end up calling Jen's boss for them, saying that Jen is a dying sister or something. It's crazy.
Emergency at home! Your Aunt Beryl had a fall!
My aunt who? Hello?
Hey, it's me. We're breaking you out.
So basically, Jen gets out of her work and doesn't even want to. Like, she said no multiple times, but now it's too late. She has to do it. When Caitlin shows up, they do a horrible performance to make it look legitimate, and it just makes it worse and worse.
Oh, I'm so glad you're here, paramedic John Gage, and... Dude, I'm totally a paramedic?
We're here to take you to the hospital.
This whole episode is about getting Jen out of work, and I feel so bad for her. She ends up being super excited to get this break, and she's like grateful that they actually convinced her to do this, until her boss shows up at the amusement park, which why in the world would you go to the same mall that you would work your respective job in? I can't believe they all did this. Like, they deserve to get in trouble. But really, it's just Jen. Thank God everybody stands up for her, and she does not lose her job by the end of the day.
Now that man needs to take a mental health day. I mean, it's just a stupid store.
Oh gosh, but still, like, it's not fair how it played out for her, and her friends are really disrespectful in this episode. But hey, isn't that just what the real friend experience is like?
Point.
That's why they invented this game. To build a better unsafe driver and make the streets safer for you and me.
So episode number 3 is called The Slow and Even Temper, and we get a lot of good glimpses into a bunch of characters. For instance, we start out with Jen, which we kind of know the best at this point. I mean, that last episode definitely defined her as a character, and she needs to learn how to drive. And of course, like, the craziest person to teach her is Jude. Like, this chill stoner guy is just gonna teach her how to drive. I can't believe that's even a part of it.
So, do you know the ending? Who did it?
Jude, it's a driver's manual.
So the chauffeur probably did it.
Meanwhile, Caitlin's trying to convince Wyatt to get a nice jacket, but he's too scared to let go of the one he wears, which I've never seen him wear before, so I guess it's not that lucky. He won a songwriting competition in this jacket, so that's why he's, like, defending it so bad. Meanwhile, they bet Jonesy can't get a job working as a security guard at the mall, and this actually does come up later. He ends up meeting the mall cop, and I get my favorite character finally.
Do you think you got what it takes, punk? Do you?
Yes, sir.
All right, maggot. Let's see your stuff.
Jonesy does a bunch of unnecessary tests from the mall cop to get approved to have this job, and it does work. I can't believe he does a good job in the end of the day.
Hold on, I've got something for you.
Whoa!
He's doing 10 in a 40 zone.
But officer...
Save it for the judge, ma'am.
Jude convinces Jen to give him a chance and actually teach her how to drive, which becomes more like a shaman experience. Like, he's, like, more angelic. He puts her in front of an arcade machine at first, which is kind of a good idea. So she gets behind the wheel, and she just thinks it's pointless, but hey, it's cool.
That the reason drivers can't handle unsafe situations is because they don't practice driving in unsafe conditions at crazy speeds.
Wyatt ends up having the most unlucky day ever once he like loses his jacket and is like trashed by his coworkers. He's in a really bad position. Caitlin and Nikki end up bonding over the whole Wyatt's jacket incident because they're the ones who got rid of it. Oh my gosh, these guys are crazy.
When he realizes he's not dependent on it like he thinks he is, he won't have to wear it anymore.
Is that a bad idea I smell?
Oh no, it'll work.
Meanwhile, Jonesy is trying to take advantage of his mall cop privileges by expecting like free lemonade and like trying to get things from different people, which is a very disrespectful way to use the badge. He's somehow able to win the mall cop over by being like the best security guard ever, which is insane. Once Jen does a good enough job at the arcade game, Jude thinks she's ready to get behind the wheel, but he ends up taking the keys from Jonesy, who actually can get into the car store at the mall.
Even like, say, for the keys to the display car in the atrium. Could I see them for a sec?
Sure.
And so they end up getting behind the most expensive, newest car ever. And if you know how expensive these things are, like, you'd be just as worried as I am because they're gonna cause a scene. They end up driving the car into the fountain where Wyatt's jacket is. Oops, so now everybody's getting in trouble. Jonesy gets fired from being a security guard. Wyatt gets his jacket back, and...
My lucky jacket's gone, my Discman is toast, I'm soaking wet, and my audition is in 20 minutes!
You ducked just in time!
That car just flew right over your head. You should be dead right now.
You are so lucky, and you didn't even have your jacket. Which I just found.
I think Jen's not going to be able to drive after this one. Like, I don't know the law too much in Canada, but they definitely couldn't get you your license sooner. Wyatt ends up fully doing the performance without his jacket, only to realize that it wasn't just a lucky jacket. So yeah, it's a lot of plots going on at once, but we really get to see all their individual lives in a really quick way that is so entertaining, honestly. This show is just really good. Jude and Jen being a pair in this episode, they are good off of each other because of his chilledness and her stressed outness. Like, that's a really good dynamic. Along with Wyatt being so neurotic, like, he is one of like the most uptight characters, and I feel like I didn't realize it until this episode. He's also even a little bit superstitious because this was a weird outcome. I think we're gonna see more of that with him in future episodes, but yeah, these are the first three.
Oh, hi guys! What'll it be?
Okay, so the next episode covers a lot. It's called A Lime to Party. And this is when we see that Jonesy really can't hold down a job. He basically is working at this giant lime this whole episode. We start out with a cold open, and we learn that Caitlin's really not good at her job, and Jen is like criticizing her for it a lot.
Can I get a lemonade smoothie? The power of this pink cardigan will now permeate the card and increase the credit limit.
This ends up causing a lot of conflict because Jonesy ends up opening up a lime shop immediately across from Caitlin. I mean, it's not technically his store, so it's not his fault, but he does start working there, and it actually starts to drive the lemon stand out of business.
This sucks. I hereby christen thee the Party Lime!
So it kind of draws a lot of attention to how bad Caitlin is at her job. Jonesy is dealing with the moral dilemma this whole episode, that like just because he's doing good and his friends are doing bad, like is he going to go through with that or just keep partying? You know, so then the B plot is about Jude, Nikki, and Wyatt. So Wyatt gets tickets to go to the Wombats concert, and Nikki and Jude both want to go, so they have to start like stepping on each other's toes to get Wyatt's affection.
I'm trying to listen here.
Here you go, buddy. Just the way you like it, dude.
Ugh, why, that little suck-up?
Which, Wyatt's kind of a crazy guy. Like, he literally doesn't even have enough to pay for his coffee, so his crush pays for it for him. Honestly, Wyatt, come on. It's hard not to feel bad for Jonesy because he genuinely likes his job and is actually successful at this whole lime stand, but Caitlin doesn't like her job, she makes horrible drinks, and for some reason we're all promoting her. I don't know why. There's this couple in the show that is just always somehow in the scene making out, and this is one of the first episodes they appear appear in, which is actually a cool Easter egg.
I'm talking to you, boy!
Caitlin's boss is like this Western guy with a hat. I don't even know. And he catches Caitlin literally celebrating with the lime stand. Turns out he's going to shut down the Lemon and move it to a strip mall, which means Caitlin will not be working with her friends anymore, which is actually a genuine threat. And I'm glad that the stakes are this high because I would also be really stressed if I were Caitlin. So Caitlin tries to have a Christmas in summer event, and yeah.
Just wanted to take this opportunity to wish you the best for the holiday season.
All the friends go except for Jonesy, who is having his own event, and he learns that the lemon stand is going to be shut down, which he didn't actually know before. I feel like it's not fair to expect him to have quit that job just for no reason. Like, at least we know why he should be worried. Nikki is kind of a genius because the way she decides to woo over Wyatt is talking to Serena, the girl he has a crush on at his job, and getting her to go out with Wyatt.
Wyatt is so smart and so poetic.
He is kind of cute.
Oh, but totally out of my league. He's more into your type.
Really?
Which actually ends up biting both of them in the butt because Wyatt ends up taking Serena to the concert. Oh my god, of course. But if I were his friends, I would just be happy for him. Like, it's very sweet. Speaking of sweet, Jonesy ends up pulling through for Caitlin and actually sabotaging the lime, so that way she could continue to have the job she hates and nobody will have a good time at the mall. Kind of a weird message by the end, and yeah, Jonesy gets fired once again, which this tradition will never end, guys. Spoiler alert, he does not keep any job.
Who's watching it?
And Caitlin ends up being able to stay at the Lemon back at her normal spot, which is kind of a win. I don't know. It doesn't really feel completely positive, but at least Jonesy had a positive character arc. That's always good.
Jonesy!
Hey!
What are you doing? Get out! Get out! Get out!
Episode 5 is Breaking Up with the Boss's Son, and this one is actually really funny. So it starts out with Jonesy making major damage at Jen's job, which I don't know how Jen deals with this. Like, this is ridiculous. This is a workplace, Jonesy. She learns that one of her coworkers, Crusher, is getting fired and replaced with this new handsome guy, and she's super excited because she's a teenager and that's just what you get excited about.
Excuse me.
You're excused. Can I kiss you? Help you?
Hey!
She ends up asking him out pretty immediately, and I'm like worried the episode's gonna be like a train wreck, especially given the title, but you learn pretty quickly her boss, Coach, is his dad.
If I went over to his house to watch a movie, I'd be at the coach's house.
You've got a lot to say for someone whose dad wears white track pants.
My dad only wore those out of the house once.
So immediately the pressure is on. She starts telling her friends how stressed she is and how this could turn out really awkward, which I agree, Jen. I think this is going to be really scary. Meanwhile, Jonesy is, of course, losing every job he gets. Him and Wyatt hang out in the nerd store, which has a lot of Star Wars memorabilia, and we get one of the nerd kids that becomes a main character after this, or whatever, not really a main character, a secondary character. His name is Darth, which isn't subtle at all.
Jonesy, look, don't touch, remember?
Dude, would you relax? It's just a stupid toy.
So Jonesy ends up using one of the Star Wars wands to break a stereo, causing him to actually have to get a job there with Darth to make up for the money. This plot gets out of hand when he and Darth get into a lightsaber fight. You know what? No, I'm just gonna call it a wand fight.
Must take advantage of slow economic activity to hone his fighting skills.
You've never kissed a chick, have you?
And Darth uses this against him, basically threatening to tell the whole mall. Unless he hooks him up with, guess who? Nikki, of all people. Why in the world would he have a crush on Nikki? I don't understand what he sees in her. Not that she's a bad character, just like what would this character see in her? You know what I mean? Meanwhile, Jen has a terrible date with the boss's son. He's just like watching the sports game the entire time.
I was saying, I won...
Sorry, babe. Just 2 minutes left in overtime.
overtime. Shoot it! Shoot the puck!
And I hate this. Like, I'm not a big sports person, but this is really normal in, like, the East Coast territory, that there's just avid sports fans that don't really care about human interaction as much as they do as their sports games. And immediately Jen is like, this is not going to work out, but I can't really break up with him either, so she's kind of in a kerfuffle. Later, she decides to act clingy and be like the most obnoxious girlfriend ever to actually deter him from wanting to be with her. So if he breaks up with her, she wouldn't have to worry about the boss, which actually is a pretty good plan. So she does this, she takes him to a movie, and she starts being really ridiculous.
I want us to share our feelings.
But the movie's gonna start.
But I need to talk. Wait, you want to break up, don't you?
With a heart sweatshirt, and honestly, I love this part. This is so funny. This is like what actually being a teenager is like. Trying to break up with somebody despite the fact that you don't really know if you want to be with them. It's just so funny to me. When Nikki finds out that Darth is the person Jonesy is trying to set her up with, she becomes super angry, as one could imagine. But this guy is like one of the funniest characters. I don't know why, like the things he says to her are just so confident, like you can't blame him. Meanwhile, the boss's son ends up getting more and more attracted to Jen the more crazy she acts, and I am having such a hard time believing this guy. Like, there's no way he likes all this stuff.
So, having fun yet?
I never knew how soft a pashmina was before.
So Jen decides she can't take it anymore, and she finally calls out this guy for like just not being what she wants. And it's so awkward because it ends up on the intercom, which that's actually a new problem in itself. I can't believe this is like barely addressed. But yeah, this guy is actually the same as her. He also agrees that they are not good together. So I guess everybody wins. Nikki is upset that Jonesy set Darth up with her, so she's like, let's get revenge on him.
I mean, Jonesy only agreed to set me up with you because of the videotape.
Videotape? What videotape?
And actually ends up playing that whole video for the entire mall, which is such a funny like way to get back at him. I don't know why. Meanwhile, Darth ends up having a crush on Jen by the end of it, which, oh my god, what a crazy way to end that whole plot. Jonesy's embarrassed, and yeah, this episode is a loss for Jonesy for sure. But yeah, good job for Nikki though this time. We learned that she was a ballerina when she was younger, which is definitely an interesting character choice. I don't know which writer came up with this character.
Just be yourself. Oh, and pretend he's just another customer.
Just another customer. Okay. Hi, can I have you?
The next episode is called the Sushi Connection, and this one's fun because I don't really like sushi myself, so the references are pretty relevant to my life. Basically, Caitlin has a crush on this guy. His name's Kyle Donaldson, and apparently he's this really good tennis player. Caitlin is super insecure around him because she has to wear this yellow lemon hat, and it feels like an earlier episode in the sense that, like, we acknowledge that she's just working here because she's rich and she has to pay off her credit card loans. It's funny how this ends up bringing Jonesy into the plot, because Jonesy he's a Huntington beauty consultant, and he actually plays a big part in this plot, but we'll get to that in a second. At first, the title was kind of random to me until in the beginning, Wyatt is eating sushi and nobody else in the cast likes sushi, which is kind of crazy to me. I feel like it's such a popular dish now. Like, every time I talk about not liking sushi, it's usually an uncommon thing. So Jen basically volunteers to talk Caitlin up to this guy. So later at the job, when he's trying to buy tennis rackets, she ends up convincing him to go on a date with her. Convincing or injuring him, honestly.
This new racket is really, twirly. What do you think of...
Wow! Caitlin hits his head with the racket, and I don't even know if this is like a fair date, honestly. Meanwhile, in the B plot, Nikki is actually taking over at the Khaki Barn. And if you know Nikki, she really doesn't fit in with the rest of the vibe of the barn, which is actually why it's so funny. Like, these other prissy girls, like, do not know how to interact with her, so it's even more surprising when she's in charge.
I don't have time to argue about this, but if anything goes wrong, it's your butt.
She doesn't do a great job and is slacking pretty much the whole time, until it gets really busy and she has no choice but to actually step up her game. Meanwhile, Jonesy ends up showing Caitlin a dress that's perfect for the date she's gonna go on that night, from the Huntington Beauty fashion place.
So buy the dress, wear it on your date, return it tomorrow morning.
So I get to wear the dress tonight?
And you don't have to worry about paying for it later. No harm, no foul.
He has the remarkable idea of returning the dress the next day so she doesn't actually have to pay for it, or she'll just get charged for it and not have to worry about it later. Kind of a good idea, very Amazon, if you guys ever shop on Amazon.
He's a total player.
Kyle?
Kyle Donaldson. He scored 4 cheerleaders and the coach's daughter in...
Later, Jen finds out that she actually hooked her up with a really bad guy. Kyle Donaldson is actually known as Dirty Donaldson, who is actually known as a womanizer. Oh my gosh. I don't know why this is above the morals for Jonesy of all people, but whatever. She decides to make a plan of action by getting her to go to super terrific Happy Sushi, which would actually make her really sick and ruin the date for her and Kyle.
He uses the Wu-Tang method.
So she chokes on a piece of fish because it's super spicy, and Kyle doesn't even, like, help her, which is kind of disrespectful of him. Like, look, like, he's not being a gentleman. And this guy is such a jerk, the way he's, like, going about this whole thing. Nikki actually kicks out the making out couple, which is actually kind of gross. It's so graphic, the way they kiss in the booth. I can't even believe it's happening. They call her the ass manager.
Whatever you say, ass man.
That's assistant manager. I could fire you for that, you know.
Because her tag says assistant manager, which kind of makes sense, but that's why it was banned from Cartoon Network. So this guy takes Caitlin on a roller coaster, not really polite as to the fact she just got super sick. And this guy just gets worse and worse. He doesn't even pay for the meal.
Sure, Jonesy.
Kyle, don't go. But I barfed for you.
When Caitlin realizes that he's just a bad date, it doesn't matter that she made up all these mistakes, because honestly, it's just so embarrassing. Jonesy and Wyatt kind of comfort her for all this, and it's actually really sweet. I like that they're bonding from this whole situation. The next day, it turns out Jonesy's dry cleaning experience was not as informative as he thought, so Caitlin has to keep the dress, and Jonesy gets fired. So, all around, they both lost.
It says here you were Volkswagen Salesman of the Year and Chairman of the Save the Lobster campaign? Impressive.
Episode 7 ends up being like a very morally confused episode, honestly. It's called the 5-Finger Discount. We start off the episode with Jonesy trying to get yet another job, and he's like trying to tell everybody in his friend group that he is the master of getting jobs, which is kind of true, but it's only because he lies. He literally lied about everything on his resume. A lot of questionable activities going on in this episode, which actually makes sense that it didn't air in the US for that reason. Also considering the plots revolve around stealing, although it is a very real thing that happens and teenagers try to get away with, but I guess since it ends up on a positive note, they don't like to show this.
Don't worry about it. New store policy. All friends get free drinks.
You can't just make up policies like that.
I've been working here for 4 weeks. I think I know what I'm doing.
Caitlin ends up giving out a discount at the lemonade stand that allows her friends to get drinks for free, which actually turns out to be a horrible idea, but all the friends end up taking advantage of it, as I would too, because that's just a killer deal. Jen is the only one that's morally against all this, which of course she is. And they all kind of share their relationship with stealing, like Nikki took some pants from the Khaki Barn once, so they're just trying to justify their actions. Meanwhile, Jen, of course, finds a jacket she is super into, and it kind of reminds me of the Sick episode where they convinced her to call out of work, but it didn't work. Yeah, in this episode, they basically convince her to steal the jacket. Uh-oh.
Didn't you cover for 2 girls last weekend?
Yeah.
Aren't you their #1 sales associate?
Every week.
See? The penalty box owes you that jacket.
Jonesy, of course, is like the devil on the shoulder, convincing Jen to steal this whole jacket, and it is not smart at all. She loves it so much and gets to go on a date with this guy who's really attractive, so she just wants to impress him. Meanwhile, Jude forms a relationship with a massage chair, which I did not expect to happen at all. Jude is such a funny character. Like, he literally will just go off into his own world and just fall for anything. He's definitely the heart of the whole show. The next morning, the coach immediately picks up on the fact that this is missing and makes this whole thing an investigative issue.
One of the new Leon's Fred's jackets is missing. I know it didn't sell. I checked the receipts.
Oh no.
Oh, yes!
hiring the mall cop to get to the bottom of it, which is freaking Jen out. Now Jen has to hide from her boss's trail, and I would be scared too, because this is for sure a firing reason. Like, you would not get a job again because of this. But you know what? Luckily she's 16. I feel like that works as an excuse for a lot of the characters. The fact that they're 16 and still learning is really important to the plot. But I guess the messages you take home from it, like as a teenager, are really important too. Jude's relationship with the chair ends up getting even more ridiculous as he gets kicked off of it for spending too much time on it.
That poor guy.
Oh no, dude just sold Betty.
He ends up winning at the end of the episode, though, because he meets a girl that also had a crush on another inanimate object, and I guess they bond over that, love? And Jonesy is caught, like, multiple times for lying on his resume, because these two guys working at the store essentially want to hang out with him outside of this. He says he's bilingual. Like, I can't even believe how much stuff he thought he could get away with. Like, it's crazy. I would at least, like, put things that are realistic. And then, unfortunately for Jen, Coach Halder finds out that the missing jacket was her fault because of the unauthorized entry code from the previous night. She ends up returning the jacket. The coach actually gives her a break, which I did not expect that. But then she and all of her friends get punished by spending 15 minutes in the penalty box, kind of for all the crimes they've committed.
This is so humiliating.
The mall cop doesn't know all about that, so they kind of get away with a lot more than you would expect. It's just so funny to think that this episode was banned from the US, and even on, like, the Cartoon Network lineup. Ugh.
Don't worry, guys. This is so gonna cheer you all up. Huh?
Oh, my lord.
Whoa.
Well, that cheered me up.
Next episode of 16 we have is Deck the Mall, and it definitely dives into all the anxieties you have around Christmas time, especially since we take place at a mall with these 6 teenagers. Like, it's kind of perfect setup. We start with Jen at her job in the sports store, and you know, everybody's a lot more demanding than they've ever been. They're frustrating, and this 16-year-old has just had enough.
I don't think so.
She screams because she's so frustrated about the mall at Christmas time, and honestly, I've never related more than screaming in an elevator. Never. And that's not her only plot. We actually learn that her family and Jonesy's has combined outside of the mall. And even though we don't really see it, it comes up a lot in the plot and the tension between the characters, which is actually really good writing.
Jonesy's dad and my mom are kind of dating.
I wonder if they kiss with tongue.
Ew!
What? Did you think they were gonna stay your innocent little parents forever?
Jude keeps referencing their parents' sex life, which is kind of crazy. This is like what I was talking about, where I'm saying 16 is not afraid to go there. I think I heard the word gay mentioned, which I've never actually heard in any sitcom, in any cartoon, like, ever. Unless it's like Family Guy or an adult show. But this being like a teen show, like, I was not expecting it. Is disgusted with Jonesy and his brothers and like how they act around the house, and it's all too real. It feels like the writers really dealt with what was going on. It's so funny because in this episode, Jonesy plays an elf in Santa's village, and honestly, I've never seen a more funny role for him to play.
You forgot your candy cane. So beautiful. Have you been naughty or nice? Hey!
Pervert! All the cast are getting gifts for each other, which is actually so cute. I feel like I did this when I was a teenager, but it's not like super common to do. It's just people you care about. And Jude gets Caitlin the perfect gift, this heart sweater, and I'm like, wow, this is actually kind of good. Jonesy ends up getting fired from his job pretty quickly because he yells at this kid, and the mom is like, he's hitting on me, which is so crazy. I didn't see him get fired this quickly.
Help yourselves.
That's awful! What is that?
The eggnog candy cane smoothie.
Caitlin tries to make like this eggnog lemonade concoction, which is the grossest thing I've ever heard, but that's just hilarious. All the cast is like pretty depressed about how this year has turned out for the holidays. Like, nobody's having a good time. Everybody is in a bad mood. So Jonesy is like, why don't we go sneak into a movie? Ooh, good idea. So like, they'll actually just celebrate on their own. Meanwhile, Jen keeps complaining about this annual turkey stuffing contest that she's gonna have to do with Jonesy's family. So that that becomes like another point of frustration for her. She doesn't want to spend any more time with this kid. So they sneak into the movie, but don't actually have other plans. Like, they don't know where to sit, so they just sit in the aisles, which is so funny. I feel like if you could have gotten away with this when you were a kid, I would have, but no, there's no way.
Where are our seats?
I said I could get us in for free. I didn't say anything about seats.
No biggie, we'll just sit in the aisles.
They get in trouble, of course, and Nikki yells the ending of the movie to the entire theater, which I think is kind of baller. That's kind of funny.
Vin Diesel gets in an accident and dies at the end. Enjoy.
So yeah, they head out of the theater only to realize that the entire mall has just closed. Oh my gosh. So it seems like they're trapped and nobody is around, and at first you're like, okay, this is gonna be a breakout episode, or like you're getting stuck, but then they learn they do have a way of getting out, but why would they when they're in an entire mall? Okay, so then this episode becomes a huge montage of things that teenagers wish they could do if they were alone in the mall, and I don't know how they have this much fun. Honestly, it's pretty creative because I wouldn't know what to do. Jonesy and Jen end up even bonding over this situation, and it kind of brightens the spirits of everybody in the group. You almost feel like very good for them because it's like they deserve this. They've been through a lot. I was through a lot when I was a teenager too. I hope you guys weren't saying that last one. That was actually my inner thoughts coming out. Don't worry about it. And yeah, by the end of the episode, everybody's happy, satisfied, and excited for the new year, which I am too. Jen has finally accepted the fact that her and Jonesy are going to be brother and sister, and it's actually really sweet. Nothing's more relatable than the end, though, when they think they're gonna have a relaxing day at the mall, but it turns out everybody's gonna be returning stuff, so, like, of course that's gonna have to be the ending.
Isn't there some tradition that happens the day after Christmas?
Huh?
Boxing Day! The next episode is episode 9, Employee of the Month, and this takes Jonesy to a whole new level. Like, it was one thing to get fired from a lot of jobs and, like, being deceptive in the past, but this time he takes it to another level. He is claiming to be a secret shopper, but not keeping it a secret, telling everybody around the mall so he gets free things.
How can it be a secret if you just told me?
That's the best part. You let it slip that you're the secret shopper, and everyone's so into getting a good rating, they just start giving you stuff for free.
Jude doesn't get it right off the bat, which I kind of find really funny of him. Plot branches off when Jonesy's at the Khaki Barn and tells one of the managers that maybe they would get a lot more out of Nikki if they promoted her. It's almost like a reverse psychology situation. And of course, Nikki is like never in the mood for any of this stuff. So it's like, why is she even working there? But this manager is like really into the idea.
By the end of the week, she'll be one of us.
Of course, the other blonde girls working at the Khaki Barn desperately want this Employee of the Month thing. They're always overachievers, but we're surprised to find out that Nikki gets the title. I mean, we're not surprised, Nikki is, and this is like really upsetting to her, of course.
Me?
Reminds me of like even today, like when you're working a job, you try to fly under the radar and only do the amount like you're paid to do, and you know, sometimes you'll overachieve, sometimes you'll like kind of keep it in the ball field. But this is what I wish like the job market was like you promote people just to like see if they could do the job, except for Nikki. I mean, she really just doesn't want to be there. Meanwhile, Jen has also been trying to get Employee of the Month, and she's like so stressed and killing herself at work, which is so funny because it's like the opposite of Nikki. Like, she takes her job so seriously and only cares about approval, which, oh, what a stressful way to live.
Yeah, but
I've got enough to do without you coming in with your Miss, pay attention to me, because I'm Jonesy, and I always have to be the center of attention.
Nikki vows to not let this change her. She doesn't want to become a corporate mess until other people start asking her for advice and actually caring about her opinion, and it actually makes her wake up a little bit. So while Jen is like trying to get the approval of her boss, she doesn't realize that Jonesy is the secret shopper, and she's prepping for a secret shopper. So she just treats him like really bad, and of course the coach tries to step in, and yeah, he just kind of set her up for failure. Poor Jen.
I need some slick new slacks. Now, get out there and sell. Break!
Yes, coach.
Meanwhile, Nikki actually falls for pretty much everything corporate and loves the Khaki Barn when she sees this really awesome break room, which I would too. That is kind of an awesome perk for a manager.
We believe that individuality is highly overrated. Facial jewelry does not comply with our wardrobe policy.
Next thing you know, Nikki comes up, her hair's in a bun, and she's all perky. It's kind of really disorienting to see, especially early season 1. Like, it's funny though, because of course she's always been rebellious, and even Caitlyn, who has always been like that, is trying to snap her out of it. Like, they just want their friend back, which I totally get. It's very wholesome to see your friends looking out for you like that, especially as a teenager when you are kind of looking for yourself and testing different things out. Like, Nikki is such a unique character, so it's fun to see her try.
Now hold on, Nikki. Don't do anything you'll regret.
Calmly step away from the lip gloss.
Let me try. Get a hold of yourself, girl! You're turning into one of them!
Jen is sucking up to Jonesy this entire episode, and he's just getting free item after free item to try to make a good review. And I don't know if you would actually give away this much free stuff. And Jonesy calls himself a man of principle, which is crazy because he's literally doing the opposite of being principled right now. So in the end, Nikki finally gets her charisma back and turns the two blonde girls against each other, with her friends actually helping her find her true identity. It's kind of a sweet story when you think about it, but the way it ends up is kind of dark.
Yo, sales chick, I need some service over here if you don't mind.
Bite me. I'm going on my break.
Bad attitude, terrible customer service from the staff. Looks like I'm gonna have to give your store an average performance review after all.
And Jen finally turns against Jonesy, who got fired from the super secret store shopper because, of course, like, he was taking advantage of it. It just has to be karma. It's just funny the way the whole episode plays out. I like how each of them have a different relationship with wanting to take work seriously. And even though we've had these plot lines a couple times, I can't wait to see the next 70 episodes and how they deal with it. Oh my gosh.
They say you shed 40 pounds of skin in your lifetime, so you'll literally be taking home a piece of Wyatt when you buy any one of these personal objects.
The next episode, we finally have like a Soul Wyatt episode. Like, we've seen him try to get with people before, but for the most part, like, it was somebody else's episode. I like that he is finally the center of attention. It turns out that they're going to be bringing this singing competition to the mall, which I kind of believe. I don't know if we do that in American malls, but maybe in Canada malls they would do that. I don't know. So he's like asking all of his friends to come and audition with him so he doesn't feel bad, which I think that's a big ask, especially if they don't like to sing. Like, sure, some of them are okay with it, but the rest are like, I would be like, no, I'm not gonna embarrass myself for fun like that.
Listen up, G, got something to say. Gonna break it down now like a powwow, a big bow wow. Yo, don't eat my chow. You like that ring? Check out my bling.
But the mall cop even auditions, which I think is the funniest thing ever. This character is always my favorite. And I first thought that this episode was going to be like one of the friends getting it instead of him, but it took a really interesting turn. So Wyatt, of course, wins right away, and everybody is proud of him because he's very talented. He almost becomes an overnight success. And seeing everybody on stage for a second to try attempt to sing is really such a good addition to the episode. Later, Wyatt asks all of his friends to come see his show, where he wrote this song about them, and it's actually really sweet. It's like personally naming each one of them and what he appreciates about all of them, which I find awesome. So while he's preparing for this song performance, everybody is on their way to go sit down and enjoy it, but everybody gets distracted by something different.
Albatross and Finch never has sales. They don't have to.
We don't have time for this.
75 seconds, I promise.
Like, Jen and Caitlyn get distracted by this sale at the store, and Jonesy starts selling merch for and because of Wyatt, which that's not really cool, Jonesy. He's like going out of his way to like make jobs out of nothing. Dude's in line for a corn dog, and Nikki shows up. She's just asleep the whole time, which is actually more disrespectful than the rest of them, guys. Come on. I honestly think this is so cool to see how each character reacts to a situation like this, like under temptation. And of course, nobody shows up, so Wyatt rewrites the lyrics in less than 5 seconds, which I do not believe is possible. Honestly, I challenge you to write lyrics to a song within like 5 seconds the way he does and still be able to perform it. Everybody is super excited about the song, and it's apparently better since he's trashing his friends now. Yeah.
Jude thinks he's a dude.
He doesn't have a clue. Caitlin wears a giant lemon, thinks the shopping mall is heaven, and Jen, she's just plain rude.
So none of his friends are there, so he just kind of calls them out, and nobody even got to hear it. The next day, they're all like feeling bad that they couldn't go to the show, and Wyatt's feeling bad because they don't know that he trashed them in the song until the song starts playing all throughout the mall and people start trashing them. Oh my gosh.
Isn't the sale still on?
Not for you. We don't want you representing our clothes. It's an image thing. You understand.
But I looked really good in those.
The fame gets to Wyatt's head, and he doesn't think he should change the song. He feels justified in all of his actions, which is actually really such a topical teen issue to have. Jonesy, of course, should not be selling his merch. It's even crazy that he's doing so. They actually call it out in one of the lines, which I think is super funny. And yeah, none of the friends want to be friends with him anymore, which is so sad. Once Wyatt starts to see how all of his friends are being treated, he decides to go back to the original song, and all of his friends are there, which shows that they like really care about him and want to support him, despite the fact it was all because of them, which I feel like I don't even know whose side I'm on in this episode, you know, like, it's unfair that he made this song about them. I feel like if he didn't use their literal first names, maybe the song would work. Like, that's why artists don't sing the name of the ex-boyfriend. They just kind of talk about an ex-boyfriend. But yeah, that's what Wyatt is going through this whole episode. I'm just so glad he has finally got an episode to himself, and it's actually interesting.
I know that look on your face. Remember the penalty box employee policy. Anytime feelings of love arise on the job, 50 push-ups.
Yes, sir.
So the next episode we have is called The Fake Date. And of course, we're starting with Jen. She has a crush on this guy while she's at her sports job. And the coach finds out and is like, every time there's love here, you have to do push-ups. And it's so funny seeing this be an actual punishment.
Now, since I've just mentioned love, I'm going to do 50 myself.
Of course, Jen only has crushes on her coworkers. I love that, like, it's always somebody here. So Caitlin tries to play wing woman, but it just goes horribly awkward. So Jen asks the group, like, what she should do. And of course, Jonesy, who is writing a book for some reason, I don't know why he takes on the role of author in this episode, is like, I can help you. Nikki warns her that, like, this is not a good idea, which I am second to Nikki. Do not let Jonesy teach you. And he's just like, guys just want somebody that looks like a playa.
Actually, I did get 58 points in last year's season. Highest score on the team.
What an idiot.
What an idiot. Oh, not you, Jonesy.
Jonesy?
So they give her an earpiece and he tells her what to say, only getting her in more trouble to do more push-ups by her boss. I love how the coach is essentially her enemy throughout this whole show as we keep going. So Jen's embarrassed and it's just so awkward. Wyatt and Jude are convinced that maybe he's a homosexual. Yeah, maybe he's gay. They don't say the word, but...
maybe he's, you know...
Oh, is he?
They insinuate it a lot, and there's another episode where they do say that word, so I'm a little confused why they didn't say it here. So they kind of put this aside, and Jen needs a date to her work social event. And yeah, she just wants to be able to look like she is desirable, and I guess the best way to do that is to make the other person jealous. So, such an old way of thinking that I feel like doesn't go on a lot in today's society, but yeah, it's still interesting. This is how we thought back then. So Caitlin interviews each of the boys in the friend group to see which one could pull off going on this date with Jen.
There's absolutely no chance of me getting any, action on this date with Jen, right?
Ugh, as if.
None.
And of course, for some reason, Jude is the only option. The plot is kind of ridiculous. It's Nikki and Jonesy arguing over a line in a movie. I don't know why the dialogue is just really impressive, like a bunch of little back and forths, especially between Jonesy and Nikki.
I saw the movie and he said you picked the wrong guy.
I saw the movie too, and he said you kicked the thong guy.
I saw the movie and he said, get a life.
The line has the word thong in it, which I also am confused why they put this in here. This must be like a banned episode too. So yeah, they go to the movie only to wait for this line, but of course Jonesy misses it for having to go to the bathroom, and I don't even know why this is relevant to going on a fake date, guys, come on.
Gee, going to a movie with you is like taking my 6-year-old nephew.
You must have one gorgeous nephew.
And something I didn't expect, is them to have a romantic tension with one another in the elevator. Oh my gosh, despite the fact they've been fighting all day, they realize they're spending a lot of time together and actually might want to pursue a relationship. At least they show this instead of say it, which I think is really impressive for a kid's show to pull off. So Jude goes haywire when he has one too many energy drinks, which I don't know why they would put that at a social event, like energy drinks, and yeah, he just causes a big commotion.
Caitlin, I can see right through you.
Try to relax, Jude. White is coming with some chamomile tea.
This is starting to freak me out. Yellow is mellow. Gotta find something yellow. Yeah!
Seeing both sides of Jude is so entertaining, like having an energized version versus the chill version. Like, this character is so dynamic and the voice actor is so good at playing him. So in the end, things don't work out. Jen is really upset and only learns that this guy does have a girlfriend. So she can't tell herself the excuse that he's gay. He clearly is with someone, and the episode just ends up with her complaining that this is so unfair.
Wait a second. What does she have that I don't?
Here we go again.
Oh, man.
Which is kind of a bittersweet way to end an entire episode, but okay, guys. All around really funny. I don't know if we actually had these experiences in life where you fake dated somebody. I mean, I could see it on TV, but not actually. I get the jealousy thing, like that's come up every now and then, but you know, it's definitely a younger age than 16 to really have those emotions.
And you're gonna get a whole chapter in my book. No, 2. Now arrest her!
So the next episode is Season 1, Episode 12, Mr. Nice Guy, and we're back to another Wyatt episode, which is kind of a breath of fresh air. So Jonesy and Wyatt basically are hanging out, and it's not super usual for these two to be alone together, but Jonesy scores a date with 2 blonde girls for both of them, and of course, Wyatt is a lot more nervous than ever before. We've seen the way he acts around Serena because he likes her, but like not liking these girls, I don't know why he's still so nervous.
And hey, if they said yes, they must not think you're all that ugly.
Hey!
He tries to get advice from his friends on like how the date's supposed to go, but you know, nobody's really that helpful. He's so worried about coming across as like a really nice guy, it almost like deters him too much. So this date takes a turn for the worse when Wyatt actually really appreciated the movie and the date, and the girls start fawning over him, both of them.
I feel like asking for my money back.
It's meant to point up the bleakness of the life of peasantry in Imperial Japan.
I still say for $12, you should get color.
Yeah, like, he starts talking about his old breakups, and they're like, oh my god, he's so sweet, which is so funny because seeing, like, that sensitive guys, like, get the girl was always such a rare concept, and I like when it came up in the 2000s, because it just, back then, emotions were a little bit more, rare.
Wyatt totally hosed me. I got us a date with 2 hot chicks, and he pulled the sensitive smart guy routine. Now they think I'm a dork.
Maybe it's because you are a dork.
It's so funny watching Jonesy embarrass himself and try to come across as a nice guy like Wyatt. And of course his friends are not supportive. They're like, there's no way you're gonna come across as a nice guy. Like, Jonesy is just convinced that Wyatt is doing some kind of witchcraft to get these girls' attention. So it actually starts being an episode about Jonesy, which I am excited. Meanwhile, Caitlin is trying to get Jude in touch with his feminine side. Such a funny random thing. So like they give him Vogue magazine, and he becomes a lot more sensitive to everybody's feelings. And it's actually really such a funny commentary on the feminine trope and coming across in 2000 sitcoms because it is such a positive trait to have emotional intelligence the way women do. So like having a man actually strive to have that is so perfect.
I think what you need is a little vitamin J, and I'm a lifetime supply.
Okay, that body language said, get out of my face, jerk.
Right! A+.
They get Jonesy to practice on girls with Jude since he's trying to be feminine. They put a little wig on him, and this is hilarious. I love it when they dress up the guys like the girls.
Are you kidding me?
Oh no, you've made her cry.
Can it, Jude?
It's Judy, and that's no way to talk to a girl.
Yeah.
Oh, I gotta get some new friends.
And Jonesy is actually really good at being a nice guy, which I'm a little worried this is going to be more deceptive for him because No, it's Jonesy of all people, and he can't even hold down a job. So Jonesy actually uses this for evil, which I was completely expecting, and tries to scoop up the twins from under Wyatt. Of course, he's like being competitive about it when Wyatt's like not even meaning to come across that way, and Jonesy's like using it for evil. Like, he's calling the girls the market, and apparently Wyatt has cornered the market, which, guys, you cannot talk about women that way.
You don't mind, do you?
Not at all. Oh, you just shop your little hearts out.
Could you just hold my purse?
We learn over time that he's really bad about keeping up this nice guy act, considering it's not genuinely who he is. He's just inauthentically portraying this role, and once he sees that, like, he has to do all of this just for, like, 2 girls, he realizes that he can't actually keep this up forever.
Hold on! You just said I was a nice guy!
That's kind of the problem. You're too nice. We're more into dark, moody guys who don't treat us well.
And Jude just wears the wig till the end of the episode. Jonesy and Wyatt finally make up by the end of the episode, and it's actually really sweet, but I don't feel like he earned it. You know, I guess maybe stepping into the shoes of what a nice guy would be and having to deal with that the whole episode, maybe that's his karma, but it doesn't feel fair to me, guys. It doesn't. All around, like, a cool episode that really dives into the feminist perspective, as I know all about. No, I'm just kidding. I don't. I'm a male, and I don't claim to know anything that is not my perspective. But yeah, this show is just so good at touching upon all these different categories.
I should try to be a little more like Wyatt, and Wyatt should learn to be a little more like me. Then maybe, just maybe, the world would be a better place.
Yeah, right! So the final one we're going to cover today is 13, The Girls in the Band. There's about 27 episodes in this entire season, so I just wanted to kind of take a mid-break and see if you guys are actually responding to this, or if I should keep making these videos. But yeah, The Girls in the Band is more about Caitlin and Jen and Nikki, which is actually a breath of fresh air. So they all like this one boy band. Out of all names, they gave this boy band dog toy. It's like trying to be more like Jesse McCartney, Justin Timberlake, like very like girl band music vibes.
They are so cute, it's sickening.
Oh, I know! Help me put it up. If anyone asks, I don't know you two.
But only Jen and Caitlin are not ashamed to admit they like them. In the B plot, we see the panda that dresses up and walks around the mall. Yeah, Caitlin actually knocks it down the staircase, which is insane.
That was awesome!
Causing the entire B-plot to be about Jonesy getting his job as the panda suit, which is, oh my god, it's such a funny idea. He basically just goes haywire and has a good time.
Scram!
Yeah, he's a real natural.
Meanwhile, Caitlin and Jen get the opportunity to be the dog toys backup dancers, and of course they're psyched about this. This is super cool. They're even trying to get Nikki to audition with them, but Nikki hates them just like the rest of the friends. Like, they're like, no, like, this is such boy band music and nobody respects it. Okay, fair. We learn that Nikki does secretly like this band. She's just trying to stay out of the narrative, which is so funny. She's just like ashamed of this fandom. Meanwhile, Jonesy starts leaving the panda suit unattended and just by itself, convinced that other people won't even realize that, which actually works a bunch of times.
This gig is sweeter than I thought.
So, I've been bonding with an empty costume all afternoon. All that stuff I told you about my date, that's between you and me, dude.
Then they start having a talk with Wyatt about why he can't just loosen up a little bit. Like, he doesn't even like to fart. Oh, come on, guys. Just give Wyatt a break. I didn't expect this, but Jude actually breaks the fourth wall here.
The stunts you're about to see are performed by professionals. For your safety and the protection of those around you, Pokey insists that you do not attempt any of what you're about to see.
Nikki ends up getting chosen to be one of the backup dancers, and it seems really unfair. Like, Jen and Caitlin are really upset with her, because obviously she doesn't even like them, so like, why would she join this? And of course, she's keeping this secret the whole time. She's actually even defensive about the fact she didn't even want to go to the auditions, which I'm on her side about. Like, she did not want to be there, so why did they drag her into it?
It's like, if you scoped a perfect one-shoulder top and put it on layaway, and then your best friend ran back to the store and scooped it.
Nikki scooped a scope? Oh, I had no idea it was this serious.
So the boys make the entire day into a boys' day out, essentially, playing around with the panda bear costume. Even Jude gets to wear it, and he does like a skateboard trick into the fountain, which has to get them kicked out. I don't know why they're not even trying to stay under the radar at this point. And of course, Wyatt begins to loosen up, and you get to see a more confident side of him, which is really wholesome, because obviously we haven't seen that a lot from him. The mall cop starts to suspect them because, of course, these are the most troublemaking kids ever. Like, they're always at the mall. Like, how is that not already a suspect?
You, stay where you are. I'm not through with you yet.
So they try to keep it down low. Meanwhile, Nikki gets exposed at the Khaki Barn for liking dog toy, and she is just so utterly embarrassed, trying to keep it a secret. And then, yeah, the conflict isn't that long. Jen, Caitlin, and Nikki just essentially bond over the fact they all find the boys cute. And it's like, come on, Nikki, loosen up, allow this to happen.
Admit it, you love dog toy.
Okay, I love them. I do.
If anything, this is like the loosen it up episode with Nikki and Wyatt. I never thought they had those things in common, but it makes so much more sense now. And Jen and Caitlin are happy letting her be the dancer, knowing that she actually does care about the band, which is so fair. It just took her this long to admit it. In the end, we see Caitlin's dance audition. It's kind of cringe, and that's how the episode kind of concludes.
Check it out.
We don't really get anything more with the panda situation, which I'm a little disappointed about. Okay, whatever.
Ah! Dude, what are you kissing me for?
I thought I was reading the signs, man.
So you know when to kiss the chick, dude?
16 is one of the most jarring, unexpected, and almost grotesque at points cartoon I've ever seen. I don't know if it's aimed at kids or adults. No, it's aimed at teens, because everything they deal with, like the nudity, the gender tension, or even the complicated relationships that secretly build up over time, this show is just so impressive the way it kind of unfolds in front of you. And going through the first 13 episodes, I never realized how much of a gem this show really was, and hearing everybody's stories and relationship to the show made it even more exciting to jump in. So I'm excited to say that I just finished the 13 episodes of Season 1 Part 2, and I can't wait to get through the rest of the series. Let's see how far Caitlin, Jen, Wyatt, Jonesy, Jude, and Nikki are going to be pushed in this second half of the first season, and then get excited for new characters, crazy situations. We just have so much fun at this mall, and I'm excited to jump back in. What's up, everybody? It's Johnny Tunes, a spin-off of Johnny 2000, where we cover 2000's nostalgia from cartoons, just as much as we do with the teen sitcom channel from before. And let's jump into the final 13 episodes now.
Yeah, I should get back to work too. I have to dust all the lemons.
You dust the lemons?
Business has been slow.
So the first episode we're going to cover is Clonesy. It's the 14th episode of Season 1. There's about 27 episodes total, and this one actually marks a huge turning point for the rest of the series that I actually forgot about until this episode came back up, and that's Jonesy and Nikki's relationship. We actually talked about it a little bit in the last episode, or 2 episodes ago, in The Fake Date, where Nikki and Jonesy actually got locked in an elevator together. At first, it was just this like really random B-plot where the two could not get along super well. You know, Nikki was pretty much taking care of Jonesy because he's like this big immature guy. At the end of it, there's like a little bit of a moment between the two that they don't really acknowledge. They just kind of like accept and then move on. This episode expands on that and actually goes way further. So the A-plot is about Jonesy getting a job at the Khaki Barn, yeah, where Nikki and all the clones work.
Sorry, Nikki. We forgot about you.
They're really good at making this connection subtle, like with just Jonesy hitting on her slightly, but there's like a little bit of meaning behind it, so you could tell they're actually planning for them to be together. Jonesy doesn't want to take anybody else's job, so he just wants to work with Nikki, and he actually confides within Jude that he has a crush on her. Oh my gosh. Caitlin overhears this from the lemon stand, and this is when the friends get involved. I love those plots in the 2000s where like the friends just feel the need to meddle in another friend's relationship, whether they approve or disapprove. Jude seems like pretty neutral either way.
What are you doing?
When a dude's really into a chick, they give off these vibes that you can like smell. I think they're called pheromone.
That's the freakiest thing I've ever heard, dude.
But it's sweet. It's sweet to see them actually want to be together. Caitlin warns Wyatt and Jen, who have the B plot of trying to keep them apart, despite the fact they're working together. And it's really challenging because they have so much alone time together now that they're both working at the Khaki Barn. Nikki even gets jealous when he spends too much time with the blonde clones, and he actually seems affected by this, meaning he actually does really care. And so you're kind of stressed out about the whole situation.
So, if you could only have 3 things on a deserted island, what would they be?
Ugh, I can give you 3 things I'd banish to a deserted island.
In the B plot, Jude is trying to do a bunch of stunts and record himself, and it's kind of funny. It feels like MTV style. He's just got so much mellow, you love it.
Uh-oh.
His thing doesn't really go anywhere. He ends up getting hurt, and Jen gives him this, like, massage oil that will help him, like, become numb, and he ends up taking way too much, losing control of all of his limbs. And this feels like an episode of Victorious, the way this plot lands.
I'll call Jude.
Hold on, dude! Keep ringing!
And yeah, so Nikki and Jonesy are naturally getting closer together, even like arguing when they go on lunch, both saying that they should date each other. And oh my gosh, it's actually kind of a very tense moment where Jen, Wyatt, and Caitlin can't even control it. They just are trying to get in between it.
Great seats, guys. Popcorn, Caitlin?
Oh yeah, hand it over.
I only have eyes for you.
Pop?
Thanks. So thirsty. Pop?
So they test out their relationship by going to the park, ignoring work, and honestly, it's really sweet the way they spend time together. So their friends fully interrupt the date and sit next to them as if nothing's wrong, and the fact that they're trying to pretend to be friends, like, of course they're not gonna say anything, but there's a lot of stress going on with both of them. And I feel like I'd be really stressed if my friends tried to insert themselves like this. Like, it feels like even if they're meant to be together, they couldn't because of this attitude. Meanwhile, Jude is on the skateboard. He can't even walk because of all this cream. And how does something affect you that much? It's insane. Jude ends up being the reason that they don't even get a kiss in, so it's almost like the characters fully pulled this off, which I don't know how to feel, as if this is like a positive thing. It just seems like inappropriate the way they're messing with them. Like, if you really had an issue with like me going out with somebody or somebody going out with me, I would love it if my friends went to me directly as opposed to just like interfered. It's so funny that Jude himself is the reason that they end up coming together by the end of the episode, and yet the friends are convinced it's actually put them apart. Yeah, this is going to be the beginning of something that's actually going to keep going on multiple episodes, and I like that they're not afraid to do something like that. It could be risky, especially if you don't like the characters together, but this early in season 1, I don't know, I feel like they're not risking that much. All I know is I'd be very frustrated with Caitlin and Jen, and hopefully they have a conversation about this in the future. So yeah, that was the episode Clonesy, which doesn't really feel like it has to do with a clone. I guess maybe like the two sides of their relationship. It more so has to do with the meddling of the friends, but okay, we'll keep going, especially since this next episode is a Valentine's Day episode. Oh yeah. Something I didn't even realize till now is like, this is not actually showing Jonesy get fired. Like, he starts working at the Khaki Barn and he doesn't work there again after this episode, but it is just funny that they chose not to acknowledge that to the end of the episode. It just goes to show there's so much more important things happening.
So, you gonna ask anyone out tonight?
Yep. Nikki.
All right, carpe diem, dude.
What?
Carpe diem. It's Latin for seize the fish.
Right.
The next episode, Stupid Over Cupid, is 15th episode of Season 1, and it is the Valentine's Day one, with Jude and Jonesy confiding in one another on what they're gonna do for Valentine's Day. Jonesy says he's gonna ask out Nikki, and it's actually really sweet, especially since these two share that secret. Like, only Jude really knows this, or at least that's all Jonesy knows. And yeah, so he's excited about spending Valentine's Day together. Later, we learn that Nikki actually has an issue with Valentine's Day and likes to protest it. Therefore, she will not be going out with anybody. So Jonesy asks her out, and it kind of feels like a rejection. Honestly, like, Nikki, I would give it up just for the day. Like, you had a little romantic relationship, but yeah, no, she's just not taking it. And Jonesy is not really taking the hint at first. He's like, oh, I guess this is rejection. What he's not used to. Ooh. Meanwhile, Wyatt is actually trying to ask out Serena. Okay.
Should I get chocolates too, or is that overkill?
Why don't you hire a plane to write her a message in the sky?
Yeah!
How about I'm a total wuss?
Sorry.
In the B-plot, we actually have Wyatt going on his first official date with Serena, which is super exciting because they've only been mildly flirting. It's just shown him to be shy and not comfortable around the ladies yet, but it's cool that he's actually trying to put all his efforts toward this date. It's Valentine's Day, so he's super hyped. Jonesy kind of knocks him down for it, is she's not gonna like that, which, okay, fair. I guess save the romance for when you're actually in a relationship. He overhears Serena making fun of, romance and, maybe everything he's planning on doing is actually a little too cheesy, so he tries to dial back the whole situation, which, as you can imagine, will bite him in the butt.
Just looking at that hair, that smile, it just does something to me, you know?
Weird kids.
Meanwhile, Jonesy opens a whole booth to get a Valentine's date to replace Nikki, and honestly, this puts a relationship as a really toxic start. Why would you do that so quickly? But yeah, he just wants to prove a point and, get her jealous, which is so funny because, they're not together, so clearly he's just trying to get a reaction out of her. Caitlin and Jen act like they don't want to spend Valentine's Day doing anything, but then when they try to hit on the Abercrombie and Finch people, the boys just kind of laugh at them and kind of make them embarrassed, which bothers me a lot. Why would you guys be such jerks just because you're models?
Do you and your friend have plans for tomorrow night?
Not for you. It's an image thing, you understand.
Jerk!
So Caitlin and Jen kind of bother Wyatt for believing what Serena says and is you have to be able to go through with this, and he's just not getting all the hints, which is so funny. Meanwhile, people start bargaining for Jonesy, and it's a lot of really awkward people that he doesn't actually want to go on a date with, Julie and the cowboy, and these are people he does not like. So he kind of screws himself over, especially as people start placing a bid to get revenge on Jonesy.
What you doing there, Mac?
Placing the bid. I'll see you later.
No! That doesn't count!
This one girl ends up actually winning the date, and it turns out that she's just trying to get revenge on him. Oh my gosh, you get really scared here because she acts like a lunatic, and it's fair because Jonesy kind of treated her like trash, didn't even remember her name nor her face, so maybe she deserves this. And yeah, so Jonesy has to go back to the booth and expects another date, only for Nikki to kind of laugh at him and be like, yeah, see, this is what happens when you take this too seriously, and actually gets him out of all the dates with the girls he doesn't want to go with. And yeah, that's kind of a sweet moment that she saves him, and it just feels like Jonesy always needs somebody else to solve his problems for him, which kind of bothers me, but hey, at least this is something growing. So Wyatt ends up canceling all of his date plans and everything just to kind of not look like an idiot, and the only thing he has prepped for Valentine's Day for Serena is this little mixtape, which he actually really appreciates, and it seems like the two actually really do like each other, and it's very sweet because Wyatt, and this will mean a lot to him if they can get it to happen. So this will be awesome. Meanwhile, Jen, Caitlin, and Nikki hang out with the poster boy for Dog Toy. Not the person, but the cardboard cutout, literally. And it's so funny to see them try to have a good time with him.
Nikki! Did we score the best date for Valentine's or what?
You do realize he's cardboard, right?
So? He's cute, available, and he won't say anything stupid.
Point taken.
Meanwhile, Jude is not helpful in getting Jonesy out of these situations. Of course, Nikki has to be the only one to help at the end of the day. Later, they want to get a Valentine's Day picture to celebrate, so they have Jonesy put on the dog toy mask. And yeah, everybody gets to celebrate a little bit of Valentine's Day except for Jonesy, but I guess this is kind of their way of working in the karma so they can actually show that Nikki and him belong together. Because, he's kind of a playboy. We need to show him undo his toxic traits before they put them together as characters. And it's so cool that we actually get to have this happen.
This individual has a mask on, without carrying a costume permit.
We're just humiliating Jonesy, see?
Please help me.
Carry on.
I'm having a lovely time too. Can I kiss you?
Dude, you've got to get a date.
Episode 16 is called The Khaki Girl. Girl. And this one is interesting because it actually brings back a character from the first episode, the pilot. It's Caitlin's old best friend before she got acquainted with these 5 other characters. So there's a lot of external threats for Caitlin in this episode, especially when we see that the Khaki Barn owner, this guy, who is super flamboyant and fun, only because we've never seen him before, like, this guy's just so random. He announces that they're going to look for a Khaki Girl, somebody to model the outfits.
Love the hair, love the clothes, love you! You're signing up.
Me? For what?
For Khaki Girl, silly! Cool pierced girl, give her the deets. I'm out of here.
Ugh. So Jen and Nikki back up Caitlin, as good girlfriends will do, and actually support her in trying out for this position, except for Caitlin's old friend is also trying out for it. Oh my gosh.
You can't sign up. I'm the new Khaki Girl.
Not anymore.
You're just entering because I'm into it.
Well, that's not a very nice thing to say. It's true, but it's not very nice.
The B-plot is kind of funny because it's about Jude and this girl that we met throughout the first 13 episodes when he fell in love with that massage chair. Yeah, that part. So this girl's name is Star, and she's kind of like the perfect match for Jude just because she's kind of airheady, and so is he, honestly. But we find out that Jude has never kissed a girl. Of course, Jonesy is the first one to insert himself and want to teach him, which is so funny because the awkwardness of all this really makes it, like, comedically sound. Like, look at Jonesy kissing his hands. Like, how in the world are they gonna teach that? Not surprised he hasn't had his first kiss, though, considering his first crush was on a massage chair. Like, Jude, this is making a lot of sense for your character. This whole episode is just hilarious with Jonesy and Jude. Like, I can't find a single cartoon subplot that was even more shocking than 2 dudes kissing. Like, it's just so funny.
And that's when you go in for the kill.
Ah! Dude, what are you kissing me for?
I thought I was reading the signs, man!
So when it comes down to Caitlin and her ex-best friend, they're like, okay, let's decide this based on a shop-off. So 1 hour before the mall closes, they both have to shop till they drop. I don't know what a shop-off is supposed to consist of. All I know is it's kind of a fun idea, especially since they're, like, notably spending all their time at the mall anyway. Like, it's not surprising. Yeah, if Caitlin wins, this girl has to wear her lemon hat, and if this girl wins, she has to make her a bunch of drinks for the rest of the year, which I don't know if her manager's gonna agree to that clause, but I guess it doesn't matter. The clones from Nikki's job from the Khaki Barn end up being on Trisha's side, which is the name of the popular girl, and they're all, like, vouching for the other party, which makes a lot of sense. And of course, Trish is willing to play dirty, as any antagonist would be. And when they have the whole Khaki Barn tryouts, Caitlin is sabotaged when she pours water on the ground, which is not a fair way to play. She ends up crying, and you feel bad, but at least Nikki and Jen got her back. That's very sweet of them. Jude asks if these DVDs he pulls up from Jonesy are dirty, which is crazy that that's in a cartoon. I just have to make note of that.
I think I've found my calling. Those are for you, buddy.
Are they dirty?
It's so interesting the way they, like, have this whole competition based on metrics that I don't even know exist. Like, getting all the shopping right. Everybody ends up having a horrible stomach ache, and even though Caitlin loses, Trisha embarrasses herself as the Khaki Girl by throwing up on everybody. Ew!
My shirt! It's ruined! But I love the color.
Next thing you know, everybody's in line. Turns out they all have this disgusting stomach bug, which is ridiculous. Ugh. All because of Jude and his job. Like, of course this had to happen.
Now, what was I doing? Oh well.
So Caitlin ends up being the only one not super sick and ends up taking the title of Khaki Girl overall. So it's kind of a positive vibe. Aside from all the disgusting throw up throughout the episode, it's very frustrating to look at. I can't believe they even put this on a screen. And Jude throwing up on Star right before he's about to have his first kiss is obviously like the most embarrassing thing ever, but such a teenage experience. So I like how realistic this episode tends to get.
Come back! I've never barfed on a girl before! Give me another chance!
Of Of course, all it did was make me hate Trisha a little bit more and like Nikki and Jen for supporting Caitlyn, even though they have stomach aches, Jonesy, Wyatt, like everybody ends up being disgusting by the end of this episode, and I can't believe how this panned out. I was not expecting to have to look away when everybody was puking. But yeah, at least it all works out in the end. Caitlyn becomes the Khaki Girl, and yeah, none of the stakes that were mentioned in the bet happen to come about, so I guess we're all good.
Every time that Serena chick shows up, you do something stupid.
I do not.
I found it.
Like that?
The next episode we have is The Almost Graduate, and this is kind of a Wyatt episode, also a little bit of a Jonesy and Caitlyn episode, and a Nikki and Jen episode. You know, the point is, these 6 characters are active throughout this whole show in a way that's really impressive writing-wise. We start out with Wyatt being super insecure about his relationship, or supposedly wanting to have a relationship with Serena, which we've seen multiple times throughout this show. He is just head over heels for her, but you know what? This episode really tests his limits because he just wants to ask her out, which hasn't been like a thing on the table quite yet. He's went on a date with her, they celebrated Valentine's Day together, but nothing like that extreme. We learn that he's actually a year younger than her, which he's insecure about, but we don't really think affects the relationship quite yet. Caitlyn is interested in working at Abercrombie and Fitch, which I can't get the name right, like please correct me in the comments if this is continuing to be wrong. Jonesy is just as interested in applying for this job as well, so both of them decide to go to the interviews, which I didn't know if he was allowed to be invited, but okay, whatever. Caitlyn's like, you're not cut out to work there, which is so funny because like out of all the things she could say to Jonesy, that is so disrespectful, especially since he has confidence issues.
I don't get what the big deal is. I mean, it's just a store.
He suffered a concussion recently, skiing in Whistler.
That makes sense.
Okay, that was creepy. Ow!
Meanwhile, Jonesy actually tries to convince Wyatt to ask out Serena, and you know what? It works. He does it, and she rejects him. Was not expecting that. I thought she liked him too, and the rejection was soft, but very stressful. You know, it's because of the age thing, so he's right to be insecure. I would be too. Jonesy ends up talking to Serena and convincing her to actually go out with him, which I did not expect to happen. But yeah, so he ends up going on a date with her, and they're like, okay, let's figure this out, and I'm a little nervous for both of them. Meanwhile, Jonesy and Caitlyn are at the Abercrombie and Fitch audition or interview. It seems more like an audition because they actually put them on stage and see what their attitude would be like in store. And of course, Caitlyn is too sweet and Jonesy is too disrespectful for her to like be joining the team.
I could go to the back and check, but I won't.
So, how about you?
Just got fired. Didn't have anything better to do.
So of course they hire him, the worst candidate you could possibly hire for a job. Jonesy will never go an episode without getting fired.
Jonesy.
What?
Who, me? Why?
Well, you have that detached, self-involved egotism that Albatross and Finch stands for.
Thanks. I guess.
Meanwhile, Jen and Nikki are pulling pranks around Jen's job, which is pretty abnormal for her. I don't know why the irresponsibility is out of nowhere for them, but at least it's funny to watch them, like, get along.
Well, you've got 5 seconds left on the clock to make that call. Step up to the plate, mister. Throw the pass. Take it.
So Caitlyn gets brought into Wyatt's plot when everybody's like, we need to get Wyatt to seem more mature. So they go to Caitlyn of all people, which I don't know if that's a great idea. But yeah, the whole lemon shut down. She's like in tears. And I can't believe nobody else works at this lemon shop to a point where she could choose to shut down the entire thing just for fun. I can't believe that. So Caitlyn and Wyatt go seeking throughout the mall on how to act around people. And of course, Jude is in there for a brief second.
Being mature is expensive then.
Do you want Serena to go for you or not?
Okay.
Where did they go?
I don't know.
You're freaking us out.
Sorry.
So of course we learn that none of Caitlyn's advice was super helpful when Wyatt gets on this date. He starts acting disrespectful, not super present in the moment, which is kind of like acting like a guy older than yourself, but not necessarily more mature. He's just kind of being a jerk. And everybody knows when a character acts inauthentic, it does not work out in the long run.
Is something wrong, Wyatt?
No. Why?
You haven't said a word since we met at the record store.
I'm comfortable with silence.
Okay, then.
He tries to call Jonesy, who is now modeling at Abercrombie and Finch, and his advice is not helpful either, of course. Later, Jonesy starts to see the way people treat Caitlin at Abercrombie and Fitch, and it honestly is kind of disrespectful, so he ends up pranking everybody in the store and even ruining his chances at the job and staying there by pulling off his pants. Oh my god, this is actually a legal issue, Jonesy. You cannot be doing this in public, okay?
Dude, you are so fired.
Yeah, so this took a crazy turn, but at least it was out of respect for his friend. Aw, so they end up getting closer together, which I was not expecting. Jonesy and Caitlin are such a weird pair. And yeah, Wyatt and Serena decide to actually fully go on a date, and that's cool. At least they're together. I don't know if all their problems are solved because she's still older than him, but, you know, we'll see that for the future. All around, another fun episode that we have some, like, pairings that I didn't expect to have not seen before. The show is really good at divvying up the plot lines and giving everybody a chance to have an issue or relationship with one another. Having Wyatt be the center of attention, Jonesy also, and, like, I don't know, I'm really impressed by this show.
Looks like I have to keep my eye on you, huh?
Yes, you do.
So, okay, what do you usually do with babysitters?
Make them cry?
So the next episode, we have a Jonesy and Jen episode. It's season 1, episode 18, Bring It On, which kind of sounds like a parody of those old movies from the 2000s about all the dancers. Bring It On. Yeah, that's a series we'll talk about later. These guys' dynamic is pretty interesting because their parents are, like, getting together off the scenes, so their relationship kind of has a lot of tension every now and then, not because it's romantic, but because of the fact that they just don't like to get along. Jonesy is just fooling around at Jen's workplace with all the sports equipment, and yeah, he's causing a ruckus.
God!
Excuse me?
Just a second, dude. Going for 100 in a row.
Cool. What are you shooting now?
3. Oh.
Something I wasn't expecting is that Coach Halder actually hires him to work there with him and Jen. Oh my gosh. Yeah, so now Jonesy's working with her, and Jonesy is just put in everybody else's plot lines. It's so funny how impressive they make it work. Of course, this becomes a giant issue for both of them because working in the same place is not going to be helpful, especially since Coach Halder kind of prefers Jonesy over her. It's clear because he's, like, pretty sporty off the bat, leading to Jen even getting in trouble. Oh my gosh, so this makes the work environment a lot harder for her. But honestly, it is funny to see him with her job. Then we got the B plot, which is actually about Wyatt and Serena. You know, after the last episode, they're officially dating, it's a big deal, and he learns in this episode that she was dating Chad, their other co-worker. Oh my gosh, what real world drama. She's like wearing this bandana, and he's insecure because it belonged to him, and she's like, you knew we used to date, which, how in the world would you assume that he knew that? That is such personal information that Wyatt had no business knowing anyway, which shows that he's respectful. I'm not gonna get into the rant. Point is, he's upset and tries to act like he's not upset. Oh, of course. Very 16 of them. So Jude's plot is essentially being a babysitter for this really spoiled kid that we see a lot of the time in this show. I feel like they reuse a lot of the background characters and just, like, all the characters that aren't the main cast over and over again. You'll start to notice it more and more as the series progresses. And yeah, so this little kid is following Jude around anywhere. Jonesy ends up turning his whole work situation with Jen into a gender wars with all the boys going against all the guys, which is, of course, they have to make it that dramatic.
First one to blink loses. And go! Aha! Nice!
At first they do a lemon juice contest where they're seeing who could handle the most sour thing, which doesn't have to do with gender at all. Oh, okay. And yeah, they lose. Despite the fact they lost multiple times, apparently Jonesy just keeps wanting to make the competition keep going, which is definitely a sore loser type attitude. So they have Jen and Jude have as many stickets as possible, jump on the roller coaster, and the person who doesn't throw up wins. And of course the guys win, which is just not fair because Jonesy had this, like, winner-take-all mentality. So despite the fact the girls won 3 times, they won once, and that was enough. Okay, whatever. Next thing you know, the moms at the mall start to harass Jude to start babysitting all of their kids, and they're willing to pay him a lot, so he does not reject it. It's so funny because he's clearly not good with them. Like, they're damaging everything around them. And of course, Jude, the chill guy, just takes it.
Little dudes, listen up. Field trip.
And this flows down to being Wyatt and Jonesy's problem as well, with none of them knowing how to take care of these wacky kids. And now that the girls are mad at them, they don't even want to help, because it's like, clearly your guys, you won, you be able to handle this. And I love that, like, now they're screwed because of being sore losers. The kids even hit Halder with a hockey stick. Oh my gosh.
Masterson! Why is there chocolate all over my office?
That's a really good question. Maybe your star MVP can answer that.
Jonesy, I need a word with you. Whoa there, little tight.
Jonesy ends up getting fired, of course, again, and Wyatt and Serena's argument just starts to boil up a lot more as the kids get involved. I feel like Wyatt just needs to tell her it bothers him because the fact that he keeps pushing this whole bandana situation aside, like he tries to get her a different gift, he tries to do a bunch of stuff, and it just comes across as like desperate, and the fact he can't communicate his needs is even more concerning because it's like, okay, you're not gonna work out if you go through this mentality, and the fact he's insecure about being a year younger is not going to help at all. So of course the girls take home the win this episode, yay for them, and by the end the boys just look worse, and yeah, that's kind of how this whole thing wraps up. Like, I don't even know what else to say. It was a fun episode though, having like all these stakes rise. I can't believe these guys juggle 3 plot lines simultaneously, like an A plot, a B plot, a C plot, and then they all coincide together. Like, that's just good writing.
How can I get a better job?
Being positive helps. Like, think of the donut and not the hole.
I'll apply a gooey cream donut. That's much cooler than Wonder Taco.
Episode 19 of 16 Season 1 is called The Swami, and this one is actually so much more fun than I expected. We start off with Caitlin being overwhelmed at her lemon job, which, of course, it's been 19 episodes. How is she not getting better at this point? She just gets so frustrated until a handsome customer comes up, and then she's like, oh, maybe I will do my job now. Okay. I can't help but wonder if this is a parody of, like, Annie Ann's or one of those stores in the mall that, like, just do lemonade. I really like that they're, like, leaning onto that concept, because it actually allows the kids to get away with so many plots, considering like not a lot of people go to those on weekdays. Yeah, it's so cool the way the show is like leaning into the realism. So yeah, Caitlin has a crush on this guy and is so embarrassed because she does not know how to present herself in front of him.
So, about that smoothie?
You want to go for one? I'm supposed to be on for the next hour, but what the heck?
Actually, I meant the one I ordered.
Oh, right.
She's convinced that she needs, like, guru advice or, like, something astrology related, which I personally am always down for. So she goes to this event that Jonesy is actually in charge of hosting. There's this guy named the Swami, and he's a guru that gives you life advice, if we've ever seen that before. It's got, like, this scam culture riddled under it, so you're kind of skeptical of it throughout the whole time. Except for Caitlin, she's so optimistic that she's somebody who would believe all this. When the Swami doesn't show up, Jonesy's job is pretty much on the line, so he's like, how do I entertain these people? He ends up getting Jude, who already talks in metaphors. Perfect plot line. So he somehow finds enough clothes to put him in and set him on stage to actually give his advice to the masses, which everybody automatically realizes he is also the stick-it guy. Like, why would they follow his advice? I agree, like, it's crazy how he just tries to get away with saying all this stuff.
We're all actors. Some of us are like Keanu Reeves or Alicia Cuthbert.
Oh, yes! That sounds like me!
But the crowd ends up believing it by the end, especially Caitlin, which is so funny because she's already his friend. Like, she knows he's just spewing random lines. Like, why is she not falling for it? The advice he gives actually changes all these people's lives, like Coach Halder or the Taco Girl, and it's so funny the way it actually, like, changes the story completely. Nikki's the only one who, like, just doesn't believe this guy and is sticking to her guns.
And some of us are hairy, aggressive, physically unappealing people who will never be more than character actors.
Yes! It's like he knows me!
Caitlin ends up using his advice to ask out the guy she met earlier, and it works. I mean, it is just confidence. I don't know if he actually gave her advice, but she starts to rely on Jude's words. So now she's got a date, and she's super excited about it. She rubs off all this positive vibes on Wyatt, who suddenly believes he's able to climb a ladder that he's scared of climbing. And of course, this is what happens. Like, you take advice, and then you try to follow it blindly, but then you get stuck at the top of a ladder like Wyatt. And he's just screwed. For the rest of the episode, he's stuck up there, okay?
It's a good thing this isn't a TV show. Why? Because if it was, everything would go horribly wrong after the commercial break.
Yeah, good thing.
Caitlin goes on this date, and she realizes that she's not much without Jude's knowledge, so it's kind of complicated. She doesn't know how to live without him.
Do you know what you want to eat?
Well, I was gonna order the burrito, but a wise man once told me that could be read as me being closed off to new ideas.
Okay then.
What is your stinking order?
So Jude's already doing another show with Jonesy, and yeah, Caitlin just insists he leaves it to come give her advice on the date, which is crazy because I feel like how scammy the situation feels or not, you can't just stop a performance in the middle of it just to go to one girl's date. Like, I don't care how close Jude is with them, it just doesn't make sense. So this is the one time only I'm on Jonesy's side. How in the world are you gonna just take this performer?
Sorry, I had to make a phone call.
An emergency?
Well, you know what they say about emergencies.
Emergencies are like pantsuits. Nobody looks good in them.
They're like pantsuits. Nobody looks good in them.
Yeah, right.
This guy starts to see through Caitlin, making everything seem like a scam. Jude's advice is just not helpful and leads to more problems than it's worth. And yeah, the guy ends up giving her a second chance, so it kind of works out for her. But Wyatt's still stuck at the top of the ladder. Oh well.
We ate ladders like that for breakfast. I remember once we were trapped in a foxhole, and the enemy was throwing burning ladders at us, and all we could do was eat them. Our mouths were horribly burned. So I don't want to hear, I can't come down from you, you little maggot! Ow!
So Nikki tries to bring Jude there to give him advice and get him down, and then everybody starts to see how big of a scam he is. It doesn't really get people out of problems, just throws him into more problems, which I would have immediately discredited if I saw this live performance. Like, you can't just walk away. I'm gonna let it go for now. We're gonna move on. But yeah, everybody sees Jude as a fraud, especially Wyatt and Caitlin, and they all decide to move on from the situation, which it kind of seems like a huge deal when you think about it. Like, how much money were they taking from these people, and how did they end up on top by the end?
Make like you're at a disco and get down tonight.
That is the stupidest advice I've ever heard.
Wait, don't go! He was only joking! The Swami has a great sense of humor!
But all around, it's just another Jonesy gone wrong episode. I'm really liking the pacing of these by this point, because it's like a lot of plots going on at once and then all conclude by the end. Like, that's such a good idea. So yeah, that was the Swami, and it definitely hits like more relevant topics, especially till this day, like astrology, mind readers, dog whisperers. Like, there's so many people claiming that they could kind of predict the future without necessarily having a lot of information to back it up. I do personally like astrology a lot, so I'm not gonna doubt it, but it is funny to watch people take general advice and completely take it out of context to their own confidence. And like, I don't know, like sometimes things work out, sometimes they don't. It doesn't necessarily have to do with these foreshadowed circumstances.
All right, miss. What's the problem here?
Nothing.
Nothing, eh? That's your story?
Yes. Here's your free taco, sir.
So episode 20 is called Cecil B. Delusioned. And yeah, at first I was like, what the heck is this episode title? But then I learned it's actually the Hollywood director Cecil B. DeMille, who was known for directing like large movies. And yeah, that explains why, because this whole episode is just that in a nutshell. So this reporter shows up at the mall with a camera guy, and she's doing a news story about this mall. Of course, the teens are interested because when you're shooting something in public, you gotta draw attention to yourself, right?
And clear.
You nailed that.
Yeah, get me a coffee, would ya?
Yes, ma'am.
With soy milk. No dairy, it makes me bloated.
Right.
Let's get out of here. Meet me at the truck.
So this camera guy ends up giving Jonesy the camera, essentially unspokenly hiring him to get shots of the mall, which you did not expect coming. It ends up being this like multiple like parodies of TV shows as he takes the camera and starts shooting his friends. Everybody else is like, what the heck is going on? But like even Jude gets some camera time when he sets fire to the Stick-It station.
Okay, let's kick it up a notch.
Whoa, fire, dude! Fire!
Whoa, whoa, quick, move to the side, you're wrecking the shot.
Fire! Dude!
Dude, the fire is spreading!
I know, this is great TV!
It just shows how good he is at his job. And spoiler alert, it's not that great. The B plot is the most ridiculous I think I've seen so far, not because it's bad, just because it's like kind of boring. It's basically Wyatt is failing a class, and when we learn what it is, it turns out to be gym, and it feels like it's gonna be a big reveal, but no, it's not. That's just a ridiculous plot line. So Jen is convinced that she could teach him how to be physically fit. Of course, out of all people, Jen is perfect for that. She works at the sports store. So she starts taking Wyatt out and testing a bunch of different sports with him to see if he could kind of pick up on something. But of course, we know Wyatt, and he is horrible at it. He does not know how to throw a ball, and suddenly it starts to make sense why he's failing gym. Meanwhile, Jonesy has become this whole production company trying to do a bunch of different reality or like parody TV shows. Of course, Caitlin wants to be involved, so she tries to get this like journalistic dress, which Jonesy is not having. So they try a bunch of different genres of TV shows, and this is where we get some really good comedy.
Stop, you scumbag! You think you can take this mall and turn it into your own private garbage dump? Not on my watch, soldier.
He's reaching for his medication!
Get down!
They finally decide that they're going to do a prank show to, commit to the rest of the episode, and all the friends realize that Nikki is the most interesting one on camera, so they're gonna make this about her. Okay, so all the friends kind of scheme behind her back, which seems kind of shady to me, like, this is your friend and you're just gonna act like this, and they plan to basically take Nikki out trying on bathing suits only to embarrass her. So Caitlin has to bring in her acting chops and convince her that this is a real situation. Meanwhile, Jude and Jonesy are finding different ways to record this privately, and it's so funny how committed they get to this entire process. They even go to Darth for this secret webcam in like a snake drain, which, why do you have that, Darth? And yeah, that's just a lot of questions I have for him, but I don't know if I want to get to know this character any more than I already do.
Let me see. This is great for peering around corners and sneaking up on people without being noticed. According to the brochure.
So yeah, they go through with this whole prank. Caitlin takes Nikki to the hair salon, basically gives her all these scenarios that she's not going to be comfortable with just to get the funniest outcome. And of course, it gets awkwarder and awkwarder, if those are words. They kind of sound weird coming off the tongue. But even Jen gets in on this from a distance, despite the fact she's still trying to teach Wyatt how to be sporty. Not working at all. Once they get Nikki into this bikini that she really doesn't like, which, by the way, I don't know why Jonesy is spearheading this. I thought he had a crush on Nikki, but this is definitely a betrayal of some sort. Like, this is embarrassing and she doesn't like this, but everybody's convinced that by the time they're done filming, she will have liked it, and yeah, that's just not working out.
Well, what do you think?
Excuse me, you're blinding everyone in the store with your whiteness.
Ah! That's it.
Jonesy gets caught, and it should be like an illegal thing because, like, why is he recording her while she's getting changed? Like, that is horrible to think about. And yeah, they fall through the roof, making Nikki aggressive, throwing hangers at them. And of course, I would feel betrayed if I were her too. Like, this is ridiculously crossing a line. Even before the age of social media, this is too much.
Don't panic! Keep breathing!
How did you ever get such a small size on?
Do you want to die in a change room?
By the end, everybody's just kind of apologizing to her, and there's not really a resolution until you notice there's this, like, gel on Jonesy's arm, and it turns out to be another prank set up to retaliate against him. And it's like, the episode's just over after this, but it is funny that it ends on a karmic note with Jonesy actually being embarrassed himself. I like that this whole thing is more parodying different kinds of TV shows you would watch and showing, like, a prank show that goes wrong. Like, that is funny. And the fact that it really interferes with all 6 of their friendships, yeah, that's the kind of episode I want. Of course, by the end, Wyatt ends up not failing gym class, which is really awesome. At least Jen got him through that from a distance. Interesting episode all around. I get why they call it delusional again, because it's just all of them turning on Nikki, which, by the way, this is not fair. I am team Nikki after this episode because everybody else is clearly crossing a line. She is like the morally most sane one out of all of them.
Cake! 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 Cake!
Cake! Cake! Cake! Cake! Cake! Cool! Bring it on!
Cake! Cake! Cake!
The next one is finally the one I think has gone way too far. It's episode 21, The Birthday Boy, and this one is a Wyatt episode. I've never seen the characters do something so selfish and just downright ignorant to another character in this show up until this point. Like, this is definitely the straw that breaks the camel's back, and you'll see it in a minute. So Wyatt doesn't like celebrating his birthday, a plot that I've seen so many times done before. He's just so embarrassed all the time, and he wears the hat from SpongeBob. You know, like the two straws going into the sodas, like it's just embarrassing. And Wyatt is tired of celebrating with his family. So yeah, everybody in the group is trying to get him up on his spirits. Like, hey, like get excited about your birthday, hyping him up to actually like have a positive experience, which is coming from a pretty genuine place. Now remember that, because it does not stay that positive for very much longer. Jen, Caitlin, Nikki, and all the friends decide like, hey, we're gonna do something to celebrate Wyatt tonight, which is really sweet. Like they're actually trying to get him out of his funk. And despite the fact he's kind of feeling negative about it, he ends up agreeing to it. So he's gone for most of the episode while these guys get ready on this plot. But you know what? They get distracted pretty quickly when Jude has this simulation game on his computer, which is a lot referencing The Sims, you know, like how you could have characters that you know and like, and then they'll fight with each other, interact. It's actually really a fun thing we did in the 2000s. It also goes till this day. I've been playing a lot of Tamagotchi Life, and that's been fun too. It's exactly like what they're doing. They basically get so distracted with the simulated world that they forget what's actually going on around them. It starts out with Jude being into the idea, then he gets Jen into it, finally Caitlin, and somehow everybody is enthralled in the simulated world. Probably because you can't control what happens in the real world, so you want to go to a simulated world. It's actually a really dark episode. No, I'm just kidding. The B-plot finally brings us back to the Jonesy and Nikki storyline, the romantic stuff that's been going on. So Jonesy needs to study for this test and needs Nikki to help him because she's smarter than him. And of course, this has to be a plot 2 times in a row. We just did the Wyatt episode. Now it's a Jonesy episode with just the girls teaching them. Like, I don't understand why it has to keep doing this.
Ugh, like you mean it.
Okay, you're smarter than me. You are. Nikki's smarter than me.
That's better.
But this one actually has a little bit of an ulterior motive. So Jonesy doesn't really want to study. I think he just wants to get closer to her. So while everybody's getting into this whole online simulation thing, Jonesy is trying to pick at Nikki and see why they actually haven't been going out since they did last time. Nikki does a good job at like avoiding the subject, tries to bring him back to studying, and it starts to feel like a tutor and student relationship, which is starting to bother me. But you know, they're 16-year-olds. Of course they're gonna act like this. Later, the mall starts closing and it becomes closer to the time that they said they would celebrate Wyatt for his birthday, only for everybody to realize that they were all distracted with their own separate things that they forgot to plan anything. So yeah, now the mall is closing and nobody can get anywhere in time. Even Jen missed at getting them a simple card. So they're screwed, and it's kind of annoying because they were the ones that wanted to set this all up with Wyatt, so why are they just completely dropping it until last minute? And this is when I said that they did like the most horrible thing I've probably seen in this show. So they find out that there's a party being thrown at Abercrombie and Fitch. Oh my god, I still can't pronounce it. They're like, let's just say that party is Wyatt's party. Okay. When they get there, they see that it's actually a bridal party, not just like a normal fun party. And this is going to be so much harder to disguise, but they're all determined to make this happen. Oh my gosh, guys. So yeah, while there's a bunch of models and girls there, they cannot get anybody to play along with their whole deal, which is not surprising. It sucks for all of them when Wyatt shows up and is super flattered and is like, wow, this is gonna be the best birthday I've ever had. And of course, they're like needing to double down on making this look realistic by getting people to go up and talk to him. And
thank you so much for being here.
Wouldn't miss it for the world, man. Something like this only happens once in your life, if you're lucky.
somehow this actually works, and Wyatt is convinced this is for him, so much so that he steps on stage to have a speech, essentially ruining whoever the bride actually is' party. And yeah, it's just super embarrassing. I would be so uncomfortable if I were Wyatt, especially after all the things they went through. Like, Jonesy tries to disguise the cake. They try to come up with an excuse for why they're giving Wyatt underwear for his birthday. Of course, I don't know why he doesn't pick up on this. So yeah, the bride ends up crying, and he is so embarrassed, and the friends only exit. Yeah, they don't even like try to like cover it up or apologize. They just run away. And that's the part that really aggravates me. Like, if you guys are friends, you don't just run away from each other, especially after a monumental lie like that. Like, even in the other episodes where they lied, they would usually come clean or at least not ditch their friend at the party. Like, come on, guys. But whatever, you're 16. I guess this is a part of growing up somehow. So yeah, Wyatt ends up forgiving them because it's actually a really thoughtful gesture, which I don't agree with Wyatt. I think you could give him a little more slack for this whole situation. Jonesy ends up bringing the cake, and everybody celebrates by the end with the simulation game one more time. Of course, they just have to play one more round of it.
Yeah, we're gonna have to confiscate the game now. Guys?
No way! Dudes! Wait! Stop! My baby! Dude, hey!
But yeah, the birthday boy episode is definitely gone too far for me. I can't believe they tried to show all of this in one episode. I don't remember this one at all, and it is going way too far.
Who are you? Dragon Thunder!
This next episode is probably my favorite because I've never seen this done on a TV show, literally ever, let alone a teen TV show. So like, the fact that they did this plotline so impressively is why I'm gonna give this show much more credit than you would ever give another TV show. Like, let's jump into it. It's called Enter the Dragon, episode 22. So there's this band named Dragon Thunder that's having a concert at the mall that all the teens want to go to. So it's all 6 of them. The girls ended up standing in line and getting them the tickets, which is kind of stupid that they didn't do any work for it. Okay. Jonesy, Wyatt, and Jude are celebrating by reenacting the trailer. Of course, Canadians love TV shows the same way we do, which is actually really fun.
In a world where right is wrong and might is king, 5 rebel warriors hold the key to salvation.
But Nikki, Caitlin, and Jen are acting really weird. Like, Jen is depressed, Caitlin's moody, and Nikki is just emotional, which is so different than their normal character attributes. Why are they acting this way? And this actually starts to interfere with the fact they're going to the concert that night. Like, they're either gonna make it a bad time or just ditch them all together. So, like, is this gonna affect their experience?
That's something I wanted to bring up. How come none of you respect my work ethic?
Your work ethic? Okay, stop. You're killing me.
Is that what you want? Because I can arrange that.
Meanwhile, each of the individual girls finds troubles at their job because of these heightened states of emotion, and it starts to affect them constantly. Jonesy's trying a new job at the sushi place, which doesn't really feel like it has to do with the plot, and it's just kind of funny that, like, he's just trying to learn how to work there before he's going to this whole event. It doesn't really have to do with the concert subplot, but we have Jude and Wyatt attempting to cheer the girls up and actually figure out what's going on, which is very sweet. I can't believe Jonesy is opting out of like doing the thoughtful stuff. Wyatt gives Nikki some chocolate at her job, which she finds really sweet, and Jude just is there for Caitlin, which I like that this actually helps all the friendships. We learn while they're in the penalty box that Jen, Caitlin, and Nikki all have their periods. Aww. So this is like where the plots are really interesting because this has never been talked about so openly on a kid's show. Like the cycles, the time of the month, and the fact that theirs are all syncing up could be positive because it means they're all really close friends, but bothers them too because it means they're all in a state of irritability. But discovering this actually kind of gives them clarity and like a lot more positivity, which helps them like overcome the pain, which is so funny because it's like, of course you would bond over something traumatic like that. Like, I totally get that. Later, the boys are just worried this is going to affect their concert going experiences, while the girls kind of team up and try to get through this complicated day by themselves. And the boys are trying to use the skills Jonesy learns at his sushi job to try to take on the girls and help them through their problems, which is so funny to think that they can actually have an effect on them, all with karate moves. Like, what in the world would that do?
This is so cool.
Hi-ya!
Not as cool, bro.
Today, you battle the dragon.
And her name is Caitlin.
Yeah!
Oh! Later, when they confront the girls about this, we all learn that this is because it's the time of the month, and it starts to become clear with the guys. And this sexism really plays a good part in this because, of course, the guys are ignorant to the girls' issues, and they don't really want to learn about it, so they avoid it. They try to do whatever they can to solve the problem without knowing the problem, which is probably why they're doing all this actual combat-related things. I like that the concert they're trying to see has to do with, like, the themes of the sushi restaurant, because because that kind of ties it all together thematically, and I love that. It all ties together pretty quickly when the guys realize they have nothing to be concerned about because their tickets aren't actually at risk because the girls are on their periods. It turns out they gave Jude the tickets at the beginning of the day, so now they're just acting like fools for no actual reason. They don't need to get the tickets, they don't need to be like a certain way, so it's just all around like a confusing time. But the point is, this episode is so good at talking about something they could probably never put in another cartoon ever. I really want to see more stuff like this in future teen TV shows, because we could actually normalize the fact that girls get their periods, and it becomes like a topic of conversation throughout everybody's lives, like the boys that are experiencing it with them, the girls and what they're going through. Like, it's so cool to know that the more information everybody has about the situation, the more they open up about it, the more the boys listen about it. Like, this is a really universal topic that we could actually tackle, and I hope there's more episodes like this in the future.
What are you doing with that hot water bottle?
It's for cramps. Female cramps?
Right. Well, keep it up. Very nice. Good. I'm off to go over there.
Yes, sir.
So yeah, this is one thing that 16 does very uniquely in comparison to any other show. Like, even the other Canadian shows I've seen don't touch these topics so well. But yeah, that's just another kudos to this show.
Aw, look at them. No one escapes the dreaded midterms.
Ooh, that's gonna leave a mark.
This next one is the most school-related one I've seen. It's called One Quiet Day, and basically has the teens getting ready for finals. And everybody at the mall just happens to be a teen and also getting ready for finals, because the makeout couple is even doing it in this first scene. Like, oh my gosh. That's kind of funny, though. Jude keeps finding every excuse to dodge this study group that Jen is trying to curate. And yeah, Jen just has to be the controlling one and make sure everybody's doing everything a certain way, when really nobody wants to study and she's the only one getting people to do this, which honestly, that's props for Jen, because these guys would fail without her. Somehow they managed to fit in more than a few plot lines, like Caitlin has a crush on this guy and is worried she comes across as a stalker because she accidentally drove by his house too many times and put a note in his mailbox, which, okay, fair enough, I would be differently weary around that.
But I've heard worse.
It gets worse. This neighbor saw me and thought I was like a robber or something, so they called the police and I have a mugshot!
Don't laugh, guys. It's not funny.
You're right.
No, you're wrong. It's pretty funny.
So the teens start getting bothered by the fact that Jude keeps finding excuses to get out of the study group, or that he might be with another study group, and it actually makes them all a little bit jealous, which is kind of funny. Then they find him outside the movie theater, seeing that he's just playing hooky. Turns out he's actually failing all of his classes. Oh my god, Jude, what the heck?
So then what are you doing at the movies?
I figured if I'm gonna fail anyway, I might as well have fun doing it.
Can't argue with that logic.
And so basically the friends give him a little pep talk, say that they need him to graduate with them, which totally fair. I think that's a really sweet reason. And they're all going to one by one help him study. Meanwhile, another plot breaks out, which is the actual title of the episode, where everybody bets Jen can't get involved in their study habits and or just their lives in general. Apparently, she just can't not give advice.
Oh yeah? Well, stay tuned, because you all suck!
Okay, if you're right, prove it.
So they're gonna bet $5 that if Jen cannot give advice for the rest of the day, they'll win. And it's so funny, you don't realize how often Jen tries to give advice until you see this scene, and then it's like pretty clear. Next thing you know, they keep purposely trying to tempt her in between their study breaks. So it's not really about studying anymore, except for the Jude plotline. Everybody starts teaching Jude. Caitlin purposely walks out of the stall with her underwear hanging out for some reason, just to get Jen to like get her to say something, which would count as losing the competition, which is kind of crazy when you think about it.
That's what I thought too.
Caitlin, you're...
Huh? Did you say something?
Okay, bye. Wish me luck!
Oh my god, Jonesy is staring at a woman's butt and gets caught immediately. I don't know how this guy is one of the tutors. Like, why do they trust him with anything at this point? So yeah, Jude just keeps avoiding and jumping away from any opportunity to learn, which kind of makes a lot of sense. And everybody else keeps tempting Jen, which I feel like we're on the border of forgetting about any of the tutoring or study group related stuff. After a while, Jen gets really fed up, and the boys try to tempt her with getting a tattoo of all things. And yeah, they're just taking this way too far, only to get Jen to finally speak up, which just shows how nice of a friend she is, honestly. Like, she just fully goes all out and tells them how she honestly feels about their decisions, and
This guy has way too much makeup on, and I don't care what your psychic partner thinks, he's not the one. Naked skydiving? Are you insane?
yeah, honestly, she's helping them dodge a bullet, and I don't know why they would get tattoos anyway, all to walk out with $5. Kind of a weird hill to die on, but okay. Caitlin never gets over the stalker thing. The mall cop is just like, you better stay away from that guy, and it's like, oh my gosh, poor Caitlin. Jude ends up on a really positive note, even goes skydiving? What is this guy's deal? Yeah, all around a very positive episode for everyone.
What's that stuff all over your face?
Those two covered my walkie with shoe polish. When I get through with them, they'll wish they were never born. Ow! What was that?
The next episode we have is called It's Always Courtney, 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 and of course, another Jen-related episode. And this is such a common 2000s trope where the sister character comes to visit the main girl and just happens to be more attractive, prettier, and Jen just wants to upstage her and prove that she's not all that in a can of beans, if that's the phrase. I don't know, if I didn't read the Bible lately. So everybody's getting ready for Jen's sister to come, and apparently all the boys have had a crush on her because she's been their babysitter at one point, which means this is kind of a close-knit group, more than I thought. I guess they're all like childhood friends too. Yeah, there's a lot of lore going back, but it's very sweet. So Caitlin tries to comfort Jen, and everybody else is like, don't worry, like, we always like you better than your sister. And that's like a problem she's always had, until the sister actually arrives, and of course everybody has a crush on her. They all stand like in a pyramid next to her, which is kind of crazy. I don't know why I just can't get that visual image out of my head. One by one, they're trying to discredit her and like find a reason to like Jen more, but it's hard because Jen's a little micromanagey of a person, and her sister is a lot more like them, which makes a lot of sense. So the sister starts one by one wooing each of the friends over, kind of making them her friends, and you seem to think that she's definitely up to something weird. Jonesy, meanwhile, has a stalker. Oh my gosh. So this redhead girl keeps following them around, and she just doesn't get the hint that he broke up with her a while ago, and it's kind of freaky. This is almost like Attack of the Redheads, because every girl with a problem in this episode has red hair, and I don't mean to point that out, it just is a fact.
Lydia, hi, how are you?
I'm great. I just wish I could see you right now.
I wish I could see you too.
Your wish is my command.
Huh?
Hi!
Lydia, nice to see you.
Courtney starts connecting with Caitlin over shopping, and then Nikki over her job and how she's not good at it, which is actually so funny. I completely believe that Courtney used to work at the Khaki Barn. What a convenient plot point. Suddenly Jen was right, and Courtney has made friends with all the friends except for her. Later, she even talks them into getting fake IDs and going with her to a party at the mall after hours. Oh my god, what the, how does she have the resources for this? So she gets a camera, takes everybody's pictures like literally professionally, gives them fake IDs, and yeah, it's so crazy that cartoon teen show is covering fake IDs. Like, out of all things that you have to learn about when you're that age, like, it's so funny that this is brought into the picture. I never personally ever got a fake ID or knew anybody who did, but you know, that was definitely a thing for some of my other friends, and it's crazy to think about, honestly. It kind of paints this like irresponsible picture of Courtney, but you know, all the group thinks she's just really cool, and they get into an awesome club. Okay, great. But the mall cop is on their tail and knows that they are not old enough. Even Darth gets kicked out of the venue before they start partying. Jen tries to prove a point that looks are everything, I guess, and comes in dressed up just as good as Courtney is. And yeah, she's there to have a good time and win her own friends back, aw. But then her top comes off and it's really embarrassing. Oh my god, this is so inappropriate for a kid's show. Like, these are literal children. Oh my god. But yeah, it's a cartoon, so I'm not gonna go too heavy into it. Courtney doesn't even bail them out when the rent-a-cop takes them. She's just like, no, I'm not with them, and it's like really disrespectful. That's when Jen kind of pulls her aside and acts like the parent and and it's clear like why she acts this way in general. She always has to be the more mature one, but it does make sense because Courtney does have to take the responsibility sometimes. It makes sense that they're opposites, but of course they have to do that. So Courtney ends up being the one to help them all break out of the mall jail, which I'm so excited we finally get to see. Mall Cop finally gets a platform to show his identity. So funny.
You're all mine, and I'm going to savor them, like the smell of a jungle foxhole at dawn. Jungly and foxy, with a touch of hole.
And yeah, they end up showing him an inappropriate picture of the mall cop, and that lets him free. What a crazy ending to an episode. So yeah, the generic plot line, but done in an extremely crazy way. I was not expecting full-on nudity, a stalker, or anything else to get that far, but yeah, 16 just loves to surprise us, doesn't it? At the very end, it gets really important because the only way they get off the stalker's back is if Nikki pretends to be dating Jonesy, which isn't a full episode plot, which I'm confused about. Yeah, like they just end up kissing. And wow, they just keep pushing these guys together inch by inch, and it's pretty rewarding doing it so slowly, and definitely makes it like a realistic vibe. So yeah, that was the Courtney episode.
This is our first homecoming dance.
We've been saving our paychecks for a month.
It's a major milestone in a girl's life.
Is this major for dudes too?
No.
Cool.
The next episode is episode 25, the one with the text message, and we're getting to the tail end of season 1 here, with only one more episode after this, and like a special that I don't think I'm going to get into in this video, but this one is them all getting ready for the school dance, which actually is a big deal for the girls, and the guys could care less, of course. That's the dynamic I was kind of expecting. So this whole episode is about Jen and Caitlin trying to find the perfect dress. They both have their eyes on this gold dress at the Khaki Barn, so of course that's like a big plot point for them. Wyatt wants to give this gold chain necklace to Serena, this girl he's been dating for like very few episodes at this point. Like we barely see her, but you do feel bad for Wyatt because he clearly cares about her a lot. She seems to be really uncomfortable with all his abrupt advances as a boyfriend, like he's trying to jump the maturity route, and yeah, I don't know. After that bandana incident where he was getting insecure about it, I feel like it's clear that they're not mature enough to be together. She wants to be with this other worker, Chad, which is complicated because they all work together. What in the world? Jonesy starts working at Campbell's, but they don't call it Campbell's, they just call it soup. But tell me that's not Campbell's. It's designed like either Campbell's or a Pokeball, so it's gotta be one of the two. After Jen and Caitlin start arguing over the dress, it becomes personal because Jen just decides she's going to go with it. Oh my gosh.
Okay, calm down. It's not really your dress, Caitlin.
I am calm, and yes it is, dress dealer!
I don't see your name on it.
But I saw it first. That's like totally against girl rules.
The I saw it first rule doesn't count if you can't buy it. Right, Nikki? Oh no, I'm not getting dragged into this.
Meanwhile, Wyatt gets a text from Serena breaking up with him. Ooh. See, this is always a stressful plotline in an episode because it is kind of a real thing that happened. Like, when technology was new and you got the opportunity to break bad news over text message, yeah, like, that was a big deal at the time. And I'm not one for one thing or the other. I do get the fact that it's easy to break up with somebody over text. I'd rather somebody break up with me over text than pretend to be into me long enough for them to get up the courage to break up with me. Like, I don't know, it's different for everybody, so that's kind of a complicated thing. But yeah, of course, all the girls feel bad, and everybody starts to help him get through the breakup, which I always like. I love plot lines that involve friends helping one sad friend get over their depression. Like, I don't know why, it's just such a cool plot. Wyatt even talks to Serena, learns that it's because of a maturity thing, and it's like, oh my gosh, this is so negative. Nikki's parents are in town, and this only comes up for a little bit while Jude is distracting them, but I can't believe how many plots they fit into a single episode. Everybody's just trying to help Wyatt get over this girl, and everybody's getting ready for the dance, and it's definitely like a sweet episode. Nikki ends up standing up for Wyatt, saying that Serena made a bad decision, and that's also really sweet. I feel like he gets closure from talking to her, and even though he's sad, he's gonna get over it, because he's actually realizing that when he's mature, she won't be ready, and which is a very positive outlook on a age gap relationship, I guess. Like, that kind of thing is very stressful, especially when you're the younger younger person trying to fit in with the older one, so at least he got to get out of it this way. Jen and Caitlin kind of get over this whole dress situation when all the girls from the Khaki Barn get that exact dress, which, yeah, that's definitely a major turn off for something to look unique. So yeah, they just give up on the argument, they realize it's too petty, and yeah, Nikki and Jonesy end up going on a little secret date by the end of it, but Nikki's parents inevitably find her, also disguised, and it's just so awkward to think that all of them are trying to not be seen. Like, I can't believe this is a plot line. I feel bad for Jude though, because I feel like he's the only one on lookout for Nikki's parents, and of course that just has to be his problem for her. Caitlin accidentally feeds Jen mushroom pizza, which she has a problem with in her stomach, and I can't believe she used this against her. This is like crossing a line for me. Like, she only makes up for it because she like watches her while she's in the bathroom stall later in the episode, but it is crazy to think that like this was even intentional on Caitlin's part. Guys, this is not a friendship in this moment. We don't really revisit the dance plot by the end of the episode. If anything, it just ends on the Nikki's parents plot line, which confuses me, but oh well. At least it set up all the stakes and then the plot went through, whatever.
Oh, come on, it can't be that bad.
Oh, really?
Okay, that's really bad, dude.
I know!
Next, we have the season finale, which is actually a Halloween episode, and if you could name any shows that had a season finale that was a Halloween episode, you could definitely comment below, because I am so curious. It's called Boo Dude. Kind of sounds like Jude would be saying it, but yeah. The gangs gathered at the Big Squeeze on Halloween, and Jonesy talks about him getting a job at this costume shop, so he can get everybody costumes for free. Caitlin's gonna go to this monster movie marathon, but Nikki doesn't want to even dress up at work. She does not want to celebrate it, since the clones already kind of planned to do something with that anyway. Jen's forced to dress up as a pig by Coach Holder, who actually is super obsessed with Halloween, and I'm surprised this guy has a character trait like that. Like, this is the first time I feel like he's involved in a major storyline with the show. Like, he's always just been this grumpy boss.
Yes! I love it when they drop like that! Gosh, Halloween is fun! Yeah!
Jonesy tells Caitlin that every year the guys get together and try to prank Ron the Rent-A-Cop, and they never are successful, but this time Ron is actually keeping an eye on them, so they're like definitely under the radar. The boys have a book of great pranks, which is so funny, because like, why would that be the whole difference in them pulling this off? Jude calls the Khaki Barn at Nikki's insistence and performs a prank on her co-workers. Even with the book, the guys are having a hard time coming up with like something unexpected or impressive, so Caitlin comes up with the idea with slipping the security tag into Ron's pocket so he'll set off the alarms all over the mall. Oh my gosh. So Caitlin wants Jonesy because she wants a guy's frame of mind, and this guy she's been on a date with, Talon, hasn't kissed her. She wants to know what's going on, and Jonesy's just like, well, just wait till he looks at your mouth and then kiss him, which is like so crazy because she has like a piece of spinach in her teeth and he doesn't want to kiss her, so he's looking at her mouth anyway, and then it's like this really, really awkward moment for both of them. So Jude distracts the Rent-A-Cop while Jonesy slips the tag into his back pocket, and Coach Holder confronts him basically with a giant chainsaw, which is freaking scary if you ask me, and he gets a ticket for improper use of gardening equipment, which I think you just get a charge for weaponry, honestly. So they need to do a new prank, and this is when things get way out of line. So Jen enlists Coach Holder to be one of the scarers, and the boys set up the bathroom like juice crystals with fake blood, buttering the toilet seats, and instead of Ron the Rent-A-Cop being caught in this whole prank, of course Caitlin happens to be stuck. Oh no. So yeah, Ron was one step ahead this whole time by using the bathroom in the Khaki Barn. The next day, Ron comes by and gives all the tickets to the guys before heading to his office, and yeah, the failure of the Halloween prank is kind of sad, but then they set up a chocolate cupcake on the chair for him to sit on it, and he spends the rest of the day walking around with a giant brown stain on his pants. Whew, real mature, guys. That was kind of unnecessary, but it is fun to get like a Halloween episode. I love that there's like a reason to get Coach Holder involved, Jen's boss, out of anybody. Like, he's just so gung-ho about the Halloween spirit that you do not expect him to be this intense. I forgot to mention, of course, the subplot with Jen is all about trying to wear this ugly costume and Coach Holder putting her way into Halloween. Of course, she doesn't even want to do any of this. She doesn't want to scare people. She doesn't want to get in the Halloween spirit. But the fact that, like, she ends up working with him by the end of the episode is even funnier. All around good season. I feel like they covered a lot of really complicated topics, whether it was just the teens taking taking an extra step, defied the mall rules, or like turn against Ron the Rent-A-Cop. Even Nikki and Jonesy developing a relationship pretty quietly throughout every other episode was actually really impressive. I feel like the character development is what really keeps me involved in this show, and the individual plots are just as funny too, with like literally 3 to 4 per episode. Like they really give every character something to deal with at this point, and I am so surprised this goes on for like 78 episodes, because already at episode 26 I'm like, did they not do everything they wanted to do? But yeah, I'm excited to dive into more. I can't wait to see what you guys think of the further episodes. Which ones are you looking forward to me covering? Like what seasons are your favorite? I'm just so excited to keep doing this. Don't forget to subscribe to Johnny Tunes, my new cartoon channel that focuses on season retrospectives of cartoons, and if you like any of these, you could definitely check out my main channel, Johnny 2000, which I'm just going over seasons of teen shows that I really liked growing up. It's all like nostalgia based for the 2000s, and I really hope you guys take the time to like, share, hype. Like it all goes a long way with me, and I've been doing this for like a year and a half now, so it'd be really awesome if you guys can help me reach my goals of like 50,000 subscribers by the end of next year. Yeah, this is all such a fun journey, and I'm so grateful to have you guys with me. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great day.